Welcome to Workhorse Wrestling, and welcome to the flagship first ever episode of the Saturday morning show, The Winner's Circle. How are y'all guys doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Tired.
I don't want to hear it. It's only 7 a.m. over here, so I literally just woke up like 30 minutes ago. So I was like, 7 a.m. might be a little early, but
well, you need to remember, I go to bed at like 5 a.m.
That's true. This is true. All right. So yes, as Anika said, this is our new show, The Winner's Circle, where we have we're going to do a combined review of Raw, NXT, and Dynamite from the week before. And in honor of the theme, The Winner's Circle, we're going to pick a winner of the show, winner of the week for show, the best show of the week. Let's put it that way. How's that?
Which, let's be real, almost every week we're going to have the same winner, and we all know who.
I imagine it'll often probably be Dynamite, but we'll see.
Okay.
But we'll see. But we'll each pick a winner at the end of the show for the week and go from there. We had originally normally Sammy does kind of like the lead in and the for Raw, and then I usually do NXT, and then I don't know, Anika, if you want to kind of lead the talk through Dynamite or however we want to do it, but well, I figure we'll start with Raw.
Yeah.
And it was Raw since that's the first show of the week. It was Raw from this Monday, July 8th, 2024. Sammy Joe.
So we started the show off with a CM Punk promo.
Is
that right?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
I've slept since then. Oof.
Like, it's only been 3 days after Money in the Bank, but it feels like so long ago that it's like maybe it's just me. I'm like, that was only a couple of days ago.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of something positive to say about this.
What? Okay, all right, let's go.
Rollins came out.
Yeah.
And that's when it started getting good. Because when it was just Punk out there.
Hold on, real quick. You bypassed the whole beginning, the very important part, which is CM Punk says he wants another match with John Cena if Cena wants to lace him up. You don't know if anybody wants to see it. I'm interested in seeing it. I kind of want to see Cena kick his ass, but I don't know that would happen. Punk would probably win, but I think I might be here for it, depending on when they do it and how much they put on it. If they put it on like a Monday Night Raw, that's fine. You can't make it a main event of a major pay-per-view. That I'm not interested in. So Cena's way past that. But
here's the question, though: do you want it to be Punk to be Cena's final match, or do you want it to be Orton to be Cena's final match?
Oh, I definitely don't want Punk to be Cena's final match. No, and I don't even know. I'd have to think about whether I even want it to be Orton to be his final match. I'd have to think about that, but. At this point, I'm not sure who I really want to be his final match.
We're not getting Kurt Angle.
No, knowing John Cena, it's probably going to be. It probably won't be a big name like that. My guess is it'll be some regular guy on the current active roster that he's going to try to put over. That would be my guess.
In this case, I think the best option would be like a Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, I could see that, or a Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, one of those kind of guys I could see.
Well, I would assume Carmelo Hayes, because they're good with each other, they've done backstage stuff together before.
Right.
It feels more like a passing of the torch with him.
Well, he needs something to do. I mean, he's been in Money in the Bank since he came to the main roster, and that's it. I haven't seen him do anything else. So, and the draft was, when was the draft? 3 months ago.
Yeah, something like
So,
that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a couple weeks on NXT right after the draft where he tied up all his stuff and then came to the roster. And since the roster, he's been in Money in the Bank match, and that was it. So, yeah, I mean, if that gives Melo something to do. All right, so yeah, so he said he wanted to wrestle Cena, and then then Rollins came out.
And also, Drew's on suspension temporarily. He was like, Adam Pearce, get it lifted because I want to fight this bro. So that's also was
We don't have a little snippet clip for us to play, but the Sonic kid. Don't you see there's consequences to your actions?
yeah. So I'll be the bright part of this. Thank you. I didn't mind this. I thought it was a whole lot of energy for the opening of Raw. Then Rollins came out, and rightfully so, because the consequences to Money in the Bank and him losing is he can't challenge David Priest as long as he's champion. And then, CM Punk was trying to muster up some sympathy. He's like, look, I was seeing red. You would too. If he took something from you, they represented your daughter Rose. Like, well, see, right there. Your energy is why I'm mad. He took something from me. He had a bracelet with my wife's name and my dog, but those dogs. So that's why I'm mad. But I was seeing too much red.
$3, make a new one. You had all week. You could have made a new one.
He didn't make it. The kid, a fan made it for him. See, yes, exactly. But no, so he was trying to apologize to himself, but he ends it with, "It's you, so I can't be that sorry." But I'm trying, bro. I'm trying, which I did love, because let's be real here. I am sorry. I cost you, but it's you. So I'm like, don't care. So that part was
for me, I thought the interaction with Rollins and Punk was a little weird. For someone like Punk, who often makes it a point that he doesn't give a shit about anybody else and what they're doing, and if they're in his way, he's just going to walk through them. And then to have Seth come in the ring and basically run him down and drag him through the mud, and him just kind of sit there and not say anything, it almost looked like, I don't want beef with you, dude, was a little bit kind of a weird perspective for me, because normally you'd see CM Punk kind of smile and laugh and say, fuck you, I don't care what you think, which is not the impression I ultimately got from that interaction. So
this has been built up. Survivor Series, CM Punk came back. No one was more visibly upset than Seth Rollins was. Seth Rollins made it clear on Raw that he didn't want Punk here.
Yeah.
It was looking like Punk was going to challenge Rollins for Rollins' title at the time. But then Cody won the Royal Rumble instead.
Rollins said, I'm going to break your arm and put you back on the shelf. And Punk just kind of looked at him like, almost like with scared eyes. Like, okay. I mean, I get it. You're trying to put Seth over. Seth is very upset. He's the one that's, but at the same time, it didn't have that normal Punk energy, which is like, I don't care who you are. Like,
I think they're trying to balance it out because of all the, past transgressions from AEW. They're like, okay. So how much Punk is too much Punk? Let's try to balance out with it. Like case in point, when he first came back, that first promo was and they're like, oh, you want more Punk? Fast forward to what's the thing? Tribute to the Troops, and Punk turns it up times 10. And so it really is like we're trying to gauge how much Punk is necessary for each segment. I wasn't mad because 7 out of 10 times Punk's gonna beat Steph in the promo battle. 7 out of 10 times. But if you want us to be an evenly matched rivalry, Steph gotta get some shots. So I wasn't that mad. Steph got some shots in, especially since it feels like we're going to do Drew and Punk first and then Steph. So we'll get your shots in. I will deal with you later. Because right now it's about me and Drew first, and then we'll go to you maybe at Survivor Series or something like that.
To me, it feels like Punk knows what Seth is like when Seth is working heel, because like he did seem intimidated. Now, like everybody's been enjoying Seth as babyface Seth. Whoa,
Right.
all that, and it's like you can't forget this is the dude who played mind games with the Bloodline. This
Right.
is the dude who betrayed the Shield. This is the dude who took Rey Mysterio's eye. Like,
Yeah.
So like, but yeah.
This is true.
So this is just so in my mind, this is the beginning of the feud. So I'm not really pressed about how much they're laying on thick for him versus Stell, because we gotta get through Drew versus Punk first. So I'm not that pressed about how Punk looks like at this point in time and this moment.
Yeah.
well,
It was
I
a good
wouldn't
opening
call this
segment.
the beginning. I'd call it the reignition, because like they were building up this feud 6 months ago. It's just they dropped it because
He got hurt.
and instead of bringing it back when Punk was fine, they moved it over to Drew instead. Because Drew, like
Drew
they
took
really built that up following the Royal Rumble of it being him and Drew instead of him and Seth.
like Drew took like I'm not sure who. I'm pretty sure it was Drew's decision, but the whole I prayed for this segment is like, okay, I'm taking this away from you. Basically, I'm taking this rivalry, and we're doing this. It's matter of when, not if. So I'm actually all for it. I'm actually all for it too. Well, yeah, I think we'll a decent segment to open up Raw.
Yeah. Up next, we had Jey Uso versus Chad Gable, which got interrupted. Well, I think Jey Uso, did he get the pinfall victory before the interruption?
He did.
Yes.
He did one, yes.
I heard a yes and a no.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And Abby the Witch delivered a new tape to the commentary team.
Yeah. So I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about this, because this is where they were basically on this show. What I mean, how are you guys feeling so far about the Wyatt Six stuff? You think it's working? You like? I mean,
think
this is
it's
3
working.
weeks now.
I like the
This is
video
3 weeks now
packages.
with videotapes. Yeah.
Okay. And I also love it too. The only thing is the repetitive Abby the Witch giving the tape. It's like y'all don't know that she's on freaking tape. Ain't no security around ain't no freaking security around the commentary table. So when she does come, hey chick, hey, stop right there, drop it on the floor, go on about your business. But everything else I do love. Everything else has been on point. Even more. It's too spooky to dark eyes. So they went to Full Sail. They know how to turn on the button to make the room go dark. That's all it is. Like, that's not spooky. They went to Full Sail and no special effects. That is it. Oh, but everything else I have loved about this debut, introduction, yeah.
Porn. I mean, I feel like they may have picked the wrong person in Chad Gable to kind of be the first target for them, because I don't feel like he's doing a great job in that role. I don't. His fear doesn't feel authentic and genuine to me. I don't feel like he's doing a very good job acting, which unfortunately for Chad Gable, which is unfortunate because I like Chad Gable and I think he generally does a good job. Here he feels a little lacking. And two, the first videotape was okay. The second and third videotape, which have basically just been kind of the same thing for the most part.
I like the
It's not,
third more than the second.
for me, it's just not doing. I mean, He's not even really saying anything. Like, I mean, he is, but he isn't. Like, what? I don't understand. After 3 weeks of this 3 videotapes in a row, I still don't have any idea what the goal is or what they're doing. I mean, he just rambles about weird metaphysical shit. I mean, I don't know. I just, for me, it's not hitting, I think, the way they hoped it would. But 2 of the 3 of us are really enjoying it. So clearly I'm in the
That's
minority.
exactly what
So,
they used to say about Bray a decade ago.
yeah, and that was like I said, I was never the biggest Bray Wyatt fan, especially when it came to that kind of stuff. I loved the Bray Wyatt in the rocking chair with the Cape Fear hat and the Hawaiian shirt, that Bray Wyatt, but I never liked the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt I mean, and I really didn't care for,
I was
with no
referring
disrespect.
to a Hawaiian shirt Bray. That's what Hawaiian shirt Bray did.
I guess kind of, but I don't know. I didn't. I mean, I'd have to look at that again. I don't remember feeling that way at the time about that, but maybe I'm just not remembering it correctly. But I don't know. I like Bo Dallas, and I think he's doing a good job. There's nothing wrong with what he's doing. I just feel like it's taking too long to get to the point. We have no idea what they're actually doing, other than stalking Chad Gable, who doesn't look not doing a very good job of being scared. I mean,
I'm happy they got Chad with something to work with, because he's not going after the Intercontinental title anymore. That's him versus Sammy's no longer a thing, and it's good that he is still on TV every week and they're still progressing his story further.
Thank you. Right. So the bullet points are: he wants people to remember the forgotten, which is everyone that's in the Riot Six. If you have betrayed your family, you're going to get munked up, aka Chad Gable, and we're going to make you remember our legacy. So those are top 3 bullet points. Point blank boom. Now with Chad, I do see your point of view of it's not hitting with Chad more so than anything. It feels like they try to combine 2 stories, and I'm not going to say square peg in a round hole, but maybe square peg in an octagon, where it's like it's almost the same shape, but not exactly. I would try to move this along with more so like, all right, let's do this, because I think the end goal is Chad goes to the Creed brothers and officially breaks it off with Otis and Maxine and Cesaro. Sorry, how do you like it, Cesaro? So I feel like this match, like I know they're trying to aim for SummerSlam, but if y'all want to speed up a little bit faster, I appreciate let's do the match where the Creeds help Chad and they become a faction officially, and the Wyatt Six go to someplace else and do the match, and let's prepare for both stories. Yeah.
Okay, so we got Abby the Witch, aka Nikki Cross, Sanity. We got Eric Redbeard. I'm trying to think of his WWE name. Eric Rowan.
Yeah, Eric Rowan. Yep.
Of the Wyatt family. We've got Dexter Loomis of The Way. And we got Joe Gacy of Schismtree. Like all these different factions, all with a piece.
Yeah. I mean, I got it. I mean, I understood, especially his 3rd video where he was saying, it showed all their faces behind the Firefly Funhouse masks, and these are the unwanted, and are we taking the unwanted? That still doesn't tell me what you're doing here. Like, it does, but it doesn't. I mean, I get why these guys are in your faction. Why are you here on Raw? What are you here to do other than harass Chad Gable? Like, what's your ultimate goal here? You haven't said anything. I mean, if you're here to just make it weird, then that's fine and that's working. But are you trying to be champions? What's the ultimate fucking goal here? And you got to get to it faster for me, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. But
as of right now, if you betrayed your loved ones, you're gonna get that work. So it's gonna be. So let's go through the groups that they can feel with that they betrayed these people. So Chad betrayed the Alpha Academy, Judgment Day. They haven't blown up yet. Somebody's gonna get out of line. So there it is right there.
Well, didn't they just abandon R-Truth?
Hey, so right there, boom, bang, boom. Bloodline versus them, if they can get Wyatt 6 to the level they need to, that should be Survivor Series. That should be War Games. That's just me.
That makes sense. I'm here for that. I mean,
Jey Uso joining the Wyatt Six doesn't make sense, but
no,
Jimmy Uso does.
I think they did
maybe,
but I can see again. We're propelling faster, but if they do that at Survivor Series, a little mind play with Jey Uso would be awesome. Like, hey, I don't even know why you with these people. Like this is why you went to Raw, because you couldn't go because they betrayed you. So why are you even fighting for them? See, the whole thing, that's the whole freaking like the story that I'm into, that I'm invested in. Again, this is November, so we got like what 4 months for that. So we're not gonna go too far to the future. But there is a story over there that I would enjoy over there.
I'm reminded of the promo that Jimmy and Jay did of like, I don't want to be tribal chief. You want to be tribal chief, Jimmy? No, but I know who should be, and he's standing in that ring. He's winging out right now.
Again, that was for you, the tribal chief, to us three. Now bring in the Samoan werewolf and a dude that can't do a low blow, and it's a crazy person. That was between us, not with the crazy other half of our family.
Like Solo takes the power, but what's the first thing he did? Took his brother out of it.
Well, he did lose. He did lose.
Jimmy stated he wouldn't support Solo as tribal chief.
Yes, because Jimmy at this point in time didn't have a direction. So yes, but you lost though. You lost, and because you like that was the thing, right? You lose, you get kicked out. So that's why we have this new blood. We're
new blood.
New blood. Right.
All right. What was next, Jimmy?
Sheamus is celebrating 15 years in the WWE.
Good.
Any comments on that?
He looks good. Like you really don't see a difference.
It's interesting because like he's quietly had a really solid career. Like when you think of Sheamus, you never think of him as the guy like leading the company or even the biggest star of the company. But he's had a very solid career. I mean, good worker, great wrestler. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about the guy.
He's one title away from being a Grand Slam champion.
Yeah.
And
I think in some respects he's underrated almost. I mean,
so here's the thing about Sheamus, right? When he first came here, it felt like again one of the people they kind of forced down our throats. Like, why would you give him the belt so soon? In my opinion, and then like I remember when I turned, it was 2011. I'm like, oh, okay, I see why y'all like him. Okay, cool. And then
for me, he was one of the big ones that I disliked. I was like, no, boo this dude who just showed up. No.
Right.
But like when we got to the point of like the creation of the bar, I was like, oh man, Sheamus is one of the best. Let's get it. Let's go.
And like, I ain't gonna say it's sad, but right when the pandemic either started or ended, him and Drew, it was like, I feel like we say that about almost everybody right now that was WWE for the past 2 years. Why couldn't we have this 5 years earlier? This is perfect, but better late than never. And then that came like right when a bunch of stuff was happening where it's like, this is great, but it can't be the main event just yet or whatever. So I really I do feel for him. It's like when you find your character, when you find your sweet spot. And so it's like, hopefully, like you said, intercontinental champion. Unfortunately, Gunther is not champion, so he can't win it off of him. But that would be a great main event of a premium live event. If he was the main event and to go for the Intercontinental title. Don't know who would be the champion, but that would be good. That would be hot.
He was used to get Braun Breaker over to fighting Sammy. So it's going to be a while before he can work his way back there because the person he lost to then lost to Sammy.
Well, Yeah, he lost to Sammy, but if you ask a lot of wrestling fans, they kind of wanted him to. They kind of wanted him to beat Sammy. So Braun's not, yeah, he lost to Sammy, but people are still high on Braun. So it's not like Sheamus's efforts are for nothing. So, but I am glad. Like, all right, let's go. Let's move away a little bit. I am. Okay, screw it. Yeah. So,
Bronson. Oh,
so Pete Dunne is facing Bronson Reed, and they're bringing that back. I am interested in that. If they make it work and they put effort into it, Pete Dunne versus Sheamus, I'm interested in that very much so.
well, I mean, they're buds, but Bronson Reed defeated Pete Dunne, and then Sheamus came out.
They're buds, but Sheamus just left. Of course, he was hurt. We don't know about that. But all we know is it was Fight Night on SmackDown, and then Sheamus just left for almost a year. Then he comes like you just can't come back and act like everything is all good in the hood. Like, sir, I didn't get a phone call from you. You just left me hanging. No.
The match they're building up to is Bronson Reed versus Sheamus. That's why Bronson Reed beat Pete Dunne here.
Yeah. So yes and no. It might be Triple Threat. It might because Triple H is bad right now. But there is a story with it is a story between Pete Dunne and Sheamus. And again, don't know who goes first, but he's like those two matches. It's actually a good sweet spot when you come back. All right, I got two potential programs that I can deal with for a couple of months. So that's actually pretty good.
It was revealed on commentary that Tyler Bate got injured last week.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And that was bull. Cause again, I'm like, where was he? I'm like, that sucks. That does. I do like
Rollins interrupted a gathering of the Judgment Day and asked to speak to Damian Priest. Priest told him to throw out the gentleman's agreement out the window because he says that after he's done with Gunther, he wants to face Rollins again. Which, I mean, let's be real. Like, everybody's got Gunther at SummerSlam, right?
Yes.
Especially since it's 4 weeks before Bash in Berlin. Like,
you don't have to tell everyone that,
he wins the title 4 weeks later with Bash in Berlin. Like, let's get it. Let's get it.
But okay, so how did y'all feel about this? Because it was a whole I was surprised at people who didn't like it because they're like, well, then why are you mad at Punk? Because now the thing has been lifted. Well, like you said, him and Punk always had beef, so he doesn't need extra fuel to that fire. And I appreciated this statement because of what happened in Money in the Bank. We all know the wonky finish. Things happen. We wish it didn't happen. So I actually appreciated this segment.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised people were like, well, now Seth can't be mad at Punk like that. But yes, he can.
Yeah, he can. Like, he had lost the match. Like, he might have still have won the match. You never know. But, like, the gentleman's agreement wasn't going to matter in the first place. So, like, I don't see why he'd be mad about that. Because let's be real, it's only as long as Damian Priest holds that title, and he's going to be losing that title in less than a month to Gunther. So, what's the problem?
See, we can't be fantasy booking ahead. That's how we get to the point in premium live events. We all know that we should look ahead and get our expectations up.
Listen, he's supposed to be a visionary. It's his character. We don't look ahead for Rollins. Like, we are missing the freaking ball.
And so I do appreciate when Steph was like, "You're lucky. You might be even good, but you have to be better than good to beat Gunther." So on that note, yes, but it's like you still have to give the percentage. The percentage isn't zero. I'll say that. The percentage isn't zero that Damian Priest beats Gunther.
Oh no, it's definitely not zero. It's definitely not zero. I mean, I can't imagine that Gunther doesn't win, but it's probably if I had to give it a number, I'd say there's 20 to 25% chance that Damian still retains. I mean, WWE does weird stuff sometimes, and they don't always seem to pick up on things when everyone else does, or choose to do things when the fans think it's the right time. So, and I think that they're high on Damian Priest, and I do worry that if Gunther wins here, what does it ultimately do for Damian's title run? Where does it leave him? What does that do for Judgment Day, which is one of WWE's biggest factions at the moment? So, I mean, there's a lot of questions there with Damian losing. So, I don't think it's just a fait accompli that Gunther wins. I do think there's a big chance. I mean, I'm giving him 75% that Gunther wins, but I could see WWE maybe having Damian win again. I don't know.
Sami Zayn hit the ring.
Mhm.
Braun Breaker came out and interrupted him. Braun Breaker then hit him with his spear, and Ilya Dragunov came down to check on Sami Zayn after.
Nothing
Yeah.
bad is. I appreciate Sammy. I'm like, because like, look at the smart person. Like, just in case y'all forgot, I am the veteran of this program here, and yet I get y'all like Braun, but I'm Sammy freaking Zayn.
Yeah.
So no, let's not give. I shouldn't be getting 20%, 0% of me winning. I shouldn't be getting 25% of me winning. I like the puff chest of Sami Zayn. Like, hold up, let's all pump our brakes, please, because I am Sami Zayn.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the reality is that Sammy is carrying this with Braun. I mean, I like Braun. Braun's fine. But Sammy's a superstar here, right, at this point in time. Like, Braun still needs to develop a little bit more. Ilya for sure, too. Sammy's, the one carrying this as the veteran. I'm here for a triple threat at some point, if that's what it boils down to. I don't know how many more times I need to see Sammy and Braun. I know we've only seen it the one time, and we'll probably see it at least a second time. I don't know that I need to see them alone a second time. Maybe just a triple threat between the three is enough to satisfy it. I thought there was anything wrong with their first match. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy this. I mean, I think it's solid for Ilya and Braun, who are both new to the main roster, to be working with a solid veteran and a good teacher like Sami Zayn.
I wouldn't mind triple threat. I don't. But the thing about that is, either way, because I think we're all in agreement that Braun's the one who's going to get pushed and wins the IC title, and that involves Sammy or Ilya getting pinned. And I don't.
Yeah.
That's the only part. Like, I don't want neither of them to get pinned.
Yeah,
Personally,
and
I wish that they'd bring back elimination matches. Like right now, all we got is Elimination Chamber. That's the only elimination match we still have. Like if
Right.
they were to do like Sammy, Braun, Ilya, Sheamus, Bronson Reed, Pete Dunne, Jey Uso, and Chad Gable 8-man elimination match, where once you get pinned or submitted, you're out, and last man standing is the champion. Like I think that would be a bomb ass match at SummerSlam. Oh my god!
Like maybe a gauntlet match, maybe.
Where it's two people, and then when one gets eliminated, another one comes out. Yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind that at all. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I could get behind that. It's just a question as to what order do you put them in.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course. Yes.
What was next?
Judgment Day took on Braun Strowman and the Awesome Truth. Um,
Fun. That's all I gotta say. This was fun.
I actually quite enjoyed this. This felt Monday Night Raw to me. Like,
I gotta remember that they're tag team champs. Like, oh
not
crap.
anymore.
No, Raw.
Oh! You're talking about Judgment Day.
Judgment
Okay.
Day. Yeah, Judgment Day is the tag team champs.
Yeah.
Finn Balor and Bubblehead. And so it's like, oh wow. So this was fun, but you do have to get their next opponents up and running. And it could have been peaked on it. All right, but all right. Bates hurt. Let's move on. There's someone else that they can fix. So.
I mean, who really is there? Like, there's the Creed brothers, but aside from the Creed brothers, like, what's really available?
If they can, like, no offense, but can we have AOP shine, please?
Oh yeah, they are on Raw, aren't they?
Yeah, Final Testament's cool, but we all can agree AOP is better. So can we please just stop?
I mean, I was never a big AOP fan.
I'm not sure I would agree that Final Testament is even cool myself, but
okay. Well, I say cool. I mean, they got 8. They're fine, but let's move.
Yeah, I don't like them. I think they're subpar myself, and I think they're getting worse. I feel like that the weekly the promos with Karrion Kross, he's just not good. He's just not exciting. There's nothing about what he's saying that interests me. I don't know. I personally like AOP the best out of the group. I agree with Danica, so I'd rather see them on their own. I mean, I also kind of agree with Sammy in that they've never done a whole lot to necessarily move the needle, but when I look at them, I like them. So I feel like I want to give them a push to see if they can move the needle a little. But the other people in the group, I could care less about, especially Karrion Kross at this point. I don't know. Like, he's getting on my nerves at this point, honestly.
Their best feud was against Rollins and Dean Ambrose. And the whole thing about that was it was the lead up to Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Like, AOP didn't really even matter in the equation.
Yeah. Well, some of that has to do with booking. I mean, a lot of that has to do with booking and the way that they're, treated and so on. I don't, well, I mean, we'll have to see ultimately. I mean, if they get booked better, they have the look and I feel like they have the talent. They can't talk, which is why they need someone to talk for them. But, I mean, there's a lot of tag teams that can't talk.
I mean, that's why Paulie's there. You have Paulie from Legion of Doom. Like, please put the mic in his hand. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and that's the other thing. You got Paul Ellering right there, and you're letting whatchamacallit do all the talking. Like, can you put Karrion Kross in the back and tell him to shut up and let Paul Ellering do the talking, please? Thank you. Fuck.
Pretty please.
Adam Pearce told Punk to stay home and that he would deal with Drew instead.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was cool.
Okay.
Did we miss the part? Like, I think we all knew that Punk wasn't going to be gone a long time, right? So this was like, all right, this is what we call it, a needed segment to show you, hey, this is what's happening. He's not just going to come back sporadically, right? But did we miss the part where no, yeah, I think it was right before this. So the main event was
Dominic. We haven't gotten that far yet.
But didn't. So that's main event. Dominic Mysterio and Liv. Sorry, Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega. Don was trying to get the match thrown out. Talking to Adam Pearce. He was like, "No, sir. Especially with Joe behind. That's with all the women's matches. So no, it's happening. Get ready." And then the backstage segment of, "Come on, Dom, Daddy." Like, oh my God, I can't stand this part. He's like, we gotta work it out. We gotta be a partner. Let's do some moves. Let's do strategy.
Yeah, and then she's stretching out his hamstrings, right, with her face close to his nether region. But Liv is getting annoying. Honestly, I don't know if she's supposed to be annoying, kind of in this role as well, but that's how it's starting to rub me as she's coming off as annoying. And honestly, like, there's nothing wrong with her. She's an attractive woman. And maybe it's deliberate, but the act of flirting with Dom that she's attempting to do is not working. It's not flirty. It's not sexy. Like, it's obnoxious and annoying. So maybe it's supposed to be that way, and if it is, great. If it's not, then she's missing the boat.
The best part of the segment was when Judgment Day came into the room and Carlito, who was like they're the best part of it. That's the only reason why I would let this keep going, so I can just have Carlito drop these lines. That's And tell him, oh, hey, and then Dom was like, it's hard enough on me as it is. He's like, that's pretty hard. Like, get out. This way, you're not helping Carlito at all. And then Damian Priest, little punk, he was like, hey, either solve this or deal with the consequences that we know what they are later. All right.
Yep.
We then got a Wyatt 6 video package.
Mm-hmm.
The closing line was, then sick is what we will be.
Hey, yes, he is.
Yep. We talked a lot about that earlier. Probably don't need to beat a dead horse. I mean, unless somebody has something they want to say.
Okay. Am I confused? I'm not sure if I'm confused or not. But so Adam Pearce had a whole lot of stuff in the back. But you know what? I'll bring it up anyway. And so he was talking with Punk, and that's when this happened. It probably is. All right, I'll say it anyway. So he was talking with Punk, got all the stuff situated with Drew. He goes into his office for a meeting, and who's on his couch but Bo Dallas. And it was like,
yeah, after Gable was telling him.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay. A couple other lines from the promo. I took those that no one wanted, the disposed, the discarded. I gave them a purpose. There's been loss, too much, but grief is the price you pay for love. So he had good one-liners in it.
That was because there it was a liner for each person. In that liner, it was Eric Rowan. It was like, oh, stop! Nobody like y'all like that. Shut up.
So Gable is the one who came forward being like, I want to face the White.
Do you?
We got Braun Breaker versus Ilya up next.
But wait, real quick, because no one, I did, Bo Dallas being in the office was so great because they're like, people are like, isn't this the group? Is this the group? So him being in the office was just like, oh, shoot, and he's not even healthy duty. He's actually Bo Dallas. There is so much promise to this group, and for me, they're not doing anything wrong. And him just being in the office is kind of perfect proof of it's not going to be a spooky group. Like when we say spooky, there's not going to be lightning coming out of their hands. There's not going to be they'll win a match because the lights go out. It's going to. I think we are leading towards them actually wrestling in the ring, which is great. And so when Bo Dallas in that office, it was like, oh snap, this is like electrical crack. Okay, let's go. I was very excited for that.
So Ilya and Braun ended in disqualification.
Yeah.
Up next, we had Lyra Valkyria and the Party Girls versus Damage Control.
Again, fine. We need to do more than give them matches on TV. I don't know what that is. What's her name? EO keeps saying their control needs to change. Hopefully that means a new member, and if so, please bring her out. But the best part of this match ended in a DQ because we have a new faction, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it didn't end in a DQ.
It didn't?
No. EO pinned Carter.
All right, that's cool. And then they celebrated, and that's when the other girls came out.
Yeah, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, and Sonya Deville beat down Damage Control.
No, I mean I know what happened. I'm just saying what. I mean it feels like someone sat down, looked at the women's roster, and said, "I'll take her, and her. Fuck it, put them all together." I mean, I get it. They at least Baszler and Sonya Deville have an MMA background to kind of bring them somewhat together, I suppose. I don't know about Zoe Stark. I haven't heard that, and I don't know. I don't know. It feels weird to me. If it ends up being good, fine. I'm here for it. But at the moment, it feels just kind of like a match together thing to give three women something to do, which again is fine. I mean, you got to give people something to do, and if you have a storyline, great. But we'll see how it plays out. It feels kind of weird to me. But
Zoe Stark said, "You cost me everything, EO."
Yeah.
I assume referring to the Queen of the Ring tournament.
I
Well,
assume so.
that's more so Money in the Bank, where she freaking power drive her behind through a ladder.
Oh, she's talking about Money in the Bank. Okay.
Yeah, that part too.
Yeah.
Her hands were on the
Both.
trapeze, and then Zoe, it was like, no, bam.
I mean, at minimum, this gives Damage Control something else to focus on and something new to do. So, I mean, I guess that's something. You know, I like Io and Kyrie. I'm not the biggest Dakota Kai fan, and I feel like without Bailey,
And
Damage Control isn't really what they want them to be. Or
you
Dakota
like
Kai's not
Dakota
Bailey.
Kai more than I do.
Yeah, Dakota Kai's not Bailey. So let's put it that way. And so I feel like you lose a lot when you switch those two out. And I don't know. It's unfortunate because I think it takes away a little from Kyrie and Io. But I don't know.
I have promise with Sonya, Zoe, and Baker. It really should work. And if you put the work into making them over, it should. Keyword, it'll put in the work to make them over. Like they can't. It
Yeah.
can't be just, oh, we lose, but we beat you up after we lose. No, they actually have to win. They actually have to have good
Right.
win.
Yeah. And
The,
that brings me back to real quick. One just quick point about the Wyatt Six before we move on. Wyatt Six before we move on. I I have my concerns about them once they get in the ring because none of them are main event guys. They're all at this point, or at least the way they've been presented throughout. I'm not saying they can't be main event guys. The way they've been presented, all of them. In fact, Bo Dallas is saying the unwanted. All these guys have been put at best as mid card guys, and so I wonder. Is WWE finally going to let these guys actually shine and push them? Or are we going to have are they going to make them be mid card guys like they've always been, or are these guys actually limited and just try to present them as top tier? It feels like it could be a potential issue for me, but we'll end up
um,
seeing what happens.
they have promise. I mean, Nikki Cross, former women's champion. Bo Dallas, the youngest NXT champion of all time.
Go down.
We have Dexter Loomis, who I think could really be a star. It's just he doesn't talk, but we have him in a group. He doesn't need to talk now. And then you got Joe Gacy, which I think out of all of them, honestly, has the most potential if they utilize
I
Exactly.
agree with that.
Like you said, if this can get both, like I do want everyone to get over, but if this can get both Dallas over, and I think we all loved him when he was doing Bo Lee, but that was for me the Bo Lee thing wasn't going to get him to the main event, but I think this can make him to the main event. Like this, like Bo Dallas was sticking his teeth into this, and I'm like, okay, okay,
it.
don't screw it up.
I really loved the fact that like between Bo and Bray, like Bray was the heel that all the fans loved, and Bo was the baby face that all the fans hated.
Right?
I thought it was pretty cool. Like
I,
I
I
like
think the I think the road to getting Bo Dallas over is a little bit easier, unfortunately, now that Bray's gone, because I feel like people are going to support him because Bray's gone. Whereas before it was like, well, he actually has to stand on his own merit. Not that he's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just not sure that he's special. Bray was special. Now he can be like, he can get that rub from being, Bray's passing and so on. I mean, I think people want to support him because of that.
it.
I,
You have a good point there. Like Bo was good, but Bo wasn't special.
Yeah.
Bray was like a once in a generation special talent.
And
it's
that's my
like
concern about the Wyatt Sixes. For me, unfortunately, none of them have that special feel to them. The group, maybe as a whole, could come to that and maybe have that as a whole at some point. Individually, those six guys or five guys and one woman, Nikki Cross kind of being the exclusion, but they
No,
just don't. I mean,
four guys, one girl.
sorry, four guys, one girl. My bad. Nikki Cross being the exclusion a little bit just because she's had real main event success. But yeah, I don't know. It's
so
none of them feel special to me.
like I hate the whole comparing siblings thing because it really does like the tale of oldest time as, oh, it got to be one person who's awesome, everyone's just mid. And it's like, no, you can have two great people in the family. And so in my mind, I see both Dallas and Bray Wyatt more so with potentially, I'll say potentially because it was, again, that's even the match, potentially Eddie Murphy and Charlie Murphy. Where I'm like, Charlie Murphy had a pretty standard career. He was pretty funny and he was pretty good by himself. So I feel like that could be both Dallas and WWE.
But also, I feel like Charlie Murphy's best work was done with Dave Chappelle.
It was, but again, he held it on, and then you got venture off. If you ever see him in his comedy specials, he was good there too. But again, but like I said, like that's how I kind of
but you can't tell me Charlie didn't always feel like he was living in Eddie's shadow. I mean, when it boils down to it, Eddie is here and Charlie's here. Unfortunately, it just is the way it's worked out. I mean,
Charlie Murphy
was
telling
funny
the story of Rick James.
Charlie Murphy is a funny dude. He's not his brother. No disrespect.
Okay,
he's not his brother.
But here's the thing. I don't think he was trying to beat Charlie. I don't think he was trying to be Eddie Murphy, but it was more so, can I just be, what the frick?
I had to do it because I was talking about Rick James and cocaine.
It was more so, I just want to do what I want. I just want to do what I love as comedy. And I think that's more so what all the siblings is like, why can't I do the same thing because you are so great? I'm not trying to be you. I just want to do what I want to do in the same field. And I just want to shine and be good at it as well. And I think in that context, Bo Dallas is like, I just want to do what I do well as well.
I think it's fine. And if you're fine in your own skin and all that, that's great. I do think, though, there is something to be said for being in the same industry as your sibling who is better than you. I'm sorry. There's just some people that are better than their siblings. I mean, it just is the way that it is. I mean, and I, that's got to be something tough to live with. I mean, it just does. I mean, even if you're, I'm sure to a certain extent, like they're comfortable with it. You can't tell me Tony Rock isn't jealous of Chris's success in some way, shape, or form. Like, he wants to be a stand-up comedian too, and Chris is one of the most successful stand-up comedians ever. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a weird thing. I mean, I don't know.
It's helpful if like one's better at something and the other one's better at something else. Like with how you have with the Hardys, like Jeff is better in ring, but Matt is a much better promo. Like, honestly, Jeff has delivered some of the worst promos of all time. But like Jeff is amazing in ring.
Right.
Yeah. But
all right.
Karrion Kross sent an ominous message to Xavier Woods. He told him John Cena knew when his time was up, but the New Day has yet to do so.
Two things. Number one, don't nobody want to see Karrion Kross versus John Cena. So I don't care how much he says it and put in the atmosphere. Do not book that, Triple H.
Oh, I didn't feel like that's what was happening. He was just being topical of the time of like.
Yeah, I worry like Unica because John Cena's now on this farewell tour. They've got to put some matches together for him, and who's he going to wrestle, right? Who does anybody even want to see him wrestle at this point? I'm a huge John Cena fan, and I don't need to see him wrestle anybody at this point. So there's not one person on that roster that I think to myself, wow, I'm really excited to see John Cena wrestle him at this point. So, they're going to have to give him some warm bodies. Karrion Kross, they might as well do it. I mean,
I had named 6 names one time. I forget everybody who I named, but I came up with 6 names, and I think the consensus was, we don't really need those.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
so it'll be very interesting to see who those matches are with and what they actually end up doing for WWE, if anything. But
and number 2 will be Karrion Kross. Can we speed this up? Like what's his name? Xavier. Either you with him or you're not. Let's speed this the freak up. Like this is one of those rivalries that doesn't need to be spread out within months. Either you choose them or you don't. And if you don't have a match, come on, win, move on.
I was assuming that this is leading to the return of Big E at SummerSlam. If that's not what this is, I am confused.
Like,
if this isn't about the return of Biggie, I don't understand what's going on.
I do like, they're trying to give Xavier his solo shine. They've been trying to do it for the past couple of years, but feel like something keeps coming in the way. Like either he gets hurt, or someone else gets hurt, or King of the Ring is in Saudi Arabia. Y'all don't put a stamp on it. But, like, something always gets in the way of him being a solo act. And I think he wins the World Heavyweight Championship, but gosh darn it, I think Xavier is good enough to win the IC title or United States title. like, please, so. I think that is somewhat the goal, right, in this rivalry feud, but it's going too slow. Speed is the
It's going too slow, and honestly, like, I feel like WWE invested a lot of money in New Day, and really pushing all three of those guys. And unfortunately, when Big E went out, it felt like they kind of got cooled down. And now with Woods being stuck in this terrible feud with the terrible faction, like it's sucking Xavier even farther down. Like it's making him even cooler for me. I don't care at all about this. Like this has no interest to me at all, which is unfortunate because I really like Xavier Woods. I'm a huge fan of Xavier Woods. I want to see him do something, and this is not it. And I feel like it's dragging him down even more.
Yeah.
All right. Gunther cut a pre-taped promo about his upcoming title match at SummerSlam, and he said, "I enjoy making people miserable."
Mm-hmm.
Isla Dawn and Alba Fire interrupted Stark Baszler and Sonya Deville, teasing a title feud.
Hey, either our tag team champions, they're still here. They're the ones.
Uh,
Yeah. So which of the three are going to wrestle the two? Right. I mean, you got three women: Stark, Baszler, and
I
Deville.
assume not Sonya.
Okay.
And then Chad Gable was seen discussing business with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile.
Speed that up too. Let's go.
We had the main event match of Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega versus Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan.
And
Dominic and Liv won, and their in-ring celebration, so to speak, was short-lived because Mommy came back to beat the brakes off Liv, and Liv ran away.
I mean, this was definitely that's why it's the main event. This was definitely the biggest thing to come out of this episode of Raw, is that Rhea Ripley appears to be back. I'm assuming she's cleared. That's why she's here. So they wouldn't have brought her back until she's, I'm sure, 100% ready to go. So she must be all ready to go. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. Excited to have her back, and I thought this worked out well. It doesn't feel like there's, for me, between. Well, for me, if I'm Dominic, there doesn't seem to be much of a choice between Rhea and Liv for me, and I'm not sure how believable it is that there is for anybody. But maybe Liv is somebody's cup of tea. I don't know, but I don't know.
Side note: Damian Priest, you wrong for this, because there was a backstage segment after John left. He was like, "Hey, where you at?" You knew she was coming, bruh. You knew she was coming. I don't care if you don't like my decisions. We are. I talk about us as family and friends. So you could have told me that she was coming. You could have told Dominic she was coming. That was wrong on your part, Damien. That was wrong on your part. But
I think Damien was happy to see the drama. He doesn't like Liv, and he wanted Rhea to catch them off guard. So.
But I feel a little bit bad for Dominic because he hasn't done anything stupid that says he wants Liv until that main event. Cause ain't nobody. She didn't pull you down, bro. That was a slow burn down to the freaking ring, to the mat, bro. You could have lifted her up and pushed her off of you, bro. I do feel bad because you was good until that little moment. I guess the excitement of being your dad, maybe you do something stupid, but okay.
So this was, I mean, this is all there to just bring Rhea out, right? To bring her back. That's what, I mean, that's this whole thing. That's what the vehicle is, to facilitate this. So that's really what it's about. At the same time, I can't tell you how tired I am of seeing Dominic and Ray and Zelina and that just kind of in the same orbit. Like, let's move on already. I feel like Ray and Dominic have been doing this fucking terrible dance for like fucking 3 years now, 4 years now. They've had some good matches, but move the fuck on already. Like, I'm tired of seeing them wrestle each other over and over and over and over and over again. And man, that doesn't mean that they
One
don't
more
have
time.
good chemistry.
One more
I'm just
time.
tired of it.
It's well, actually maybe 2 more times, but at least one more time.
Well,
like it's gotta be Ray's retirement match.
Yes.
And it's probably gonna be a mask versus hair match. And
as long as that's,
to
you know,
be at a pay-per-view in Mexico.
As long as that's like 3 years from now and we don't have any interaction between now and then, I'm fine with that, or very little. But I don't need that tomorrow. I don't need it at SummerSlam.
I figured the sooner the better for Ray's
I mean,
retirement.
if indeed that's going to be the final bow on it, and you're not going to do anything else, which I don't trust, then that's fine. But I don't trust that. So push it down the road, do it 3 years from now when Ray's really ready to retire. Because I see Ray doing this, I'm going to go away, then maybe come back. I'll do a couple more matches, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I could see Ray being that guy.
Like, who better to retire him than the son of Eddie Guerrero? I mean,
it should be the holographic ghost of Eddie Guerrero. He should wrestle the hologram of Eddie Guerrero in his final match.
I mean, if you can give us Michael Jackson, you can give us Eddie Guerrero.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, but for this moment, I don't think there is anyone that Liv and Dom could have faced that would have gotten Dom that horny with Liv. Like I get like winning, yes, but I beat my dad, so that's why it was pheromones in the air. That's why he was a slow burn to the max. So for this situation of Rhea coming back, I think it was the best match for the two opponents for Dom and Liv to face to get to that point.
I mean, I don't think that. I think that's probably true. I don't know. I get so tired of seeing the same stuff over and over and over again. It just. There's so many different. The rosters are so big and so many different options that we don't need to be seeing the same guys wrestle each other over and over and over and over again.
Oh no,
I understand long-term storytelling, and I get it. Like, you have a storyline that's going to span 6 months or 5 years in this case, but and so you have to have some matches at some point. But it just feels like they do too many too often, and this is one of those that they run a lot. It feels like
too much, too young, too fast.
I think that this was just to facilitate Rhea coming back. I don't think we're running this back next week, let alone.
I sure hope not. I mean, we're going to have something because Rhea's going after Liv, so there's going to be something there. But at the same time, hopefully Ray's not involved and Selena's not involved in the way that they have been. So, all right. So that brings us to the end of Raw. Why don't we all give Raw a grade now? Then we'll grade NXT, then we'll grade Dynamite, and see who had the better grade. And that'll give us a winner. I don't know. What do you guys like better? Let's do letter. People understand. Letter's a little easier to recognize. So just standard A through F. Let's just do standard A through F rating.
Wrestling as a whole, or is this a Raw judgment?
The whole show. The whole show.
The whole show.
Am I grading on a curve for it being WWE, or is this like all wrestling?
The winner's circle, the whole show, 1 grade.
Yeah, imagine like this is like Monday Night Wars. So you're picking which show you like the best because that's when you're throwing your support behind.
I'll go first. Oh gosh, B. I think it's a solid B. This was probably the first time I didn't fall. There wasn't parts of it was like, okay, I'm going to sleep on this. This is stupid. It was more parts I liked than not. So B.
I think B's a solid grade. I think that's where I was leaning it to.
With the return of Rhea Ripley, I will give it a slightly better grade than I would normally give it. I was thinking C+. I'll go ahead and give it a B-.
So we're all roughly in the same area, B minus. Yeah. All right. All right. So that's the end of our Raw review and brings us to our NXT review. Let's see. NXT opened with hold on real quick. I know what it opened with, but I just want to see the notes real quick because, and of course now my screen's messed up. Sorry. It was, let's see, Ethan Page is in the ring talking about his newly won NXT championship, which he just won at Heatwave on Sunday. And the crowd is telling Ethan Page to shut the hell up, which I thought was kind of fun. I like Ethan Page. I always enjoy him.
Speaking of heat waves, I saw this video somebody recorded of their window boiling.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
Holy smokes.
This has been a hot summer.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it has.
Yes.
So ultimately, whatchamacallit? Oh my God, I apologize. I keep hitting the wrong thing here. I'm trying to do things on my end here and I keep hitting the wrong thing. Let's see. So ultimately, Ethan Page is interrupted by Ora Mensa, who jumps the barricade and attacks Ethan Page's security. And I guess we're gonna get Ethan Page is gonna. I mean, he offers him an NXT championship match, but I don't know that that's going to end up happening. At some point, it will. But let's see. Then Trick interrupts after he has said that the Whoop That Trick era is over. After the security is subdued or kind of gotten rid of him. Before we hold on, let me just back up here. Why are they trying to interject stupid Ora Mensa into the main event picture? Does anyone else have a problem with this?
I don't think they're trying to interject him into the main event picture. I think they're trying to wrap up the story. Because remember, we call it, I would say Fabulous Four. The metaphor were being attacked from behind, more so Noam Dar and Mensa. And they're like, who did it? And it was Ethan Page who did it. So I do appreciate them trying to wrap up that story of, hey, bro, you the one who saved me from behind. I got to get you. Now, hopefully it's a one-off. One match and it's over. But I do love the wrapping up the story of, okay, yeah, so we do have to let's remind each other he was the one who beat them up.
It makes more sense. I had forgotten that Ethan Page was actually the one that had beaten them up. So now that does make more sense. I was trying to figure out what the total connection was. I totally spaced out that connection. So it does make a little more sense. You're right. I do hope that they don't give Ora Mensa any kind of more play, one match and move on, because he doesn't deserve to be in the main event picture at this point. So, or in a feud with the champion. Trick came out. He wants a rematch tonight. And Page jokingly thanks Williams for hitting the trick shot Sunday night. He denies Trick's request, and Sean Spears comes out to the ring and tells Page he owes him a thank you as well. He was going to win the match anyway, but thanks. Oh no, Page says he was going to win the match anyways, but thanks Spears. Says Williams should go to the back of the line. Javon comes down and says he wants a shot. We already had a fatal four-way. I'm not sure how they're going to ultimately work this all out. We don't need another one. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening here. I assume Trick's going to get his one-on-one rematch with Ethan Page here at some point, and then go from there. I assume Ethan will win and then probably end up wrestling Spears and Evans and beating all three of them probably during his run, and then figuring out who's going to beat him ultimately after that. I mean, what do you guys think?
So with the Ethan Page run, right? My mind immediately went to when Dolph Ziggler was NXT champion, and it could have been so much. Like I needed 2 more matches in this title reign to actually really enjoy it, but I felt like it ended abruptly, right? Because I actually was enjoying the Dirty Dogs in NXT, and so I don't want them to miss the boat on Ethan Page's title reign. I feel like comparing the two. I feel like Trick Williams is Ron Breaker and Ethan Page Dolph Ziggler. And like we do need Ethan Page to be the champ for a little bit, but it's gonna ultimately come back to Trick. But give Ethan Page time to be champion. You know what I'm saying? Like give him time to breathe and then give that to Trick. So I do not want Trick to win anytime soon. Like, let that be a couple of months down the road, not right now.
There's any time or chance that Sean Spears holds that title at all, or he's just a warm body filling a place because he's good at what he does?
Since he didn't win this time, I think he has no chance at all in the foreseeable future. I think he will retire from wrestling, never holding a singles title.
I ain't gonna put that much stake on it. Gosh, dang it. Like, you still have hope with me, Sean?
I was rooting for him in this match, and since he lost it, I'm like, all right, well.
So
sucks to suck, I guess.
I ain't gonna say that because it doesn't suck. It really is a situation of unforeseen circumstances.
I think that Joe Hendry has a better chance of winning the NXT title than he does.
Yeah. I was just saying.
Oh, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
But the whole.
I think Joe Hendry's probably got a good chance. Go ahead, Nika. Sorry.
No, I'm just gonna say the thing about him never winning a singles championship. I'm gonna put that mistake on it. I do see him maybe winning the North American Championship before he retired. I do see that. I honestly, I don't know why they don't want to do this, but I honestly want Ethan Page and Sean Spears to be a team real quick. Like, let's do that and see where that goes, and then maybe run it back. But yeah, I would definitely like them to be a team together. And then, maybe a little bit of Carmelo Trick Hayes situation. I think that could work if y'all wanted to.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that would work. I'm here for Ethan Page and Sean Spears together.
Any chance y'all at NXT can sign Scorpio Sky? Because, like...
I wouldn't mind. And Cody's over there.
He doesn't seem to be doing anything. I mean, I'm sure he is, but I haven't seen him in a long time.
And, like, if y'all want to have, like, Brandy come in and manage Scorpio Sky, I'm cool with that, too. Like, that'd be a fine way to introduce her. Like, I understand y'all don't want her on the main roster, but, like, NXT, I feel like that's better waters for her anyways, so...
Yeah.
And honestly, looking at the women's division in NXT, like, until the two new signees, like, actually show up, like, you could use another fresh body in the women's division down there. Like, no joke.
So, Trick and Javon ultimately clear the ring. I'm pretty sure we go to commercial. Then when we come back, we've got Ariana Grace versus Carmen Petrovic. Carmen gets the win in what is very uninspired match. Neither of these women, Ariana Grace especially, doesn't move the needle for me. Carmen Petrovic at least feels like she's getting better, in intervals. I wouldn't say week to week, but she seems to be getting better. I'm not sure Ariana Grace seems to be getting better to me. And then after the match, Fallon Henley attacked Carmen from the back. Anything anyone wants to say about this? This is one of the lower segments for me in the show.
NXT is still developmental. This is a developmental match, so I'm not going to harp on it. Get better, you guys. I can do it. Yay.
Let's see. Then we had Tony D, our Heritage Cup champion, taking on Lexis King in a Heritage Cup championship match. Tony D ended up getting the win in round 4, 2 falls to 1. I feel like this was there to try to make Lexis King look good, and it didn't work. There's some disconnect here because he's just not been successful in NXT at all. And I don't think it's a lack of talent. The guy has the moves in the ring and the personality. It's just not clicking and getting over. I don't know. There's something missing. I don't know what it is, but
no offense, but as soon as y'all renamed his Lexis King, and then it's the beard, then it's the hair, and then it's like, let dunk him and lay rejuvenation and start this over. Because this whole thing is not working. Let him come back.
Yeah.
As Paul was it Bill Pillman Jr. Let him come back as him, and then let's start over.
I agree. I think at this point they need to do something different with him and repackage him and try to bring him back out as something else, assuming they have the wherewithal to continue to do that. I mean, you see, like with Wendy Chu, she's now on her third character because they obviously see something in her that they like. So, assuming that they see something in him that they like, which I'm not sure I'm seeing at the moment, they should. Yeah, I think they need to do something with him to give him a makeover. Sammy, any comments about this?
Give a makeover to who?
Lexus King, because it's not working.
What kind of makeover would we give him?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Just running back. I actually did love him in AEW. I actually like this more than I like Lexus King. It was just a matter of to me back to AEW for him to get over. So
I'm feeling like a white leather jacket. I think that'd be a good look on him.
He had that already. If he did it, my mistake. But I thought he had that already.
Yeah. Well, I guess the jury's still out. We'll end up seeing what ends up happening. But Tony D is still your Heritage Cup champion. The Dawn is still the Heritage Cup champion and carrying around that trophy. Let's see. We then got Gallus versus TNT, Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igby. TNT attacked Gallus on their way to the ring. The ref finally rings a bell. And then Wolfgang and Coffee kind of take over. And this was ultimately kind of a Gallus showcase. I didn't feel like they gave TNT a real opportunity to stand out here, to even show themselves as being as good as I think they can be, which is unfortunate. We've talked about on All for Naught about how we've got basically three teams that feel very similar in TNT, and No Fan Blade, and Out the Mud, and we both, like me and Sammy Joe, prefer TNT over the three of them. We think they have the most potential. Unfortunately, this didn't do them a whole lot of favors. I felt like Gallus kind of buried them a little bit here. So I don't know. I'd love to know what Sean's thinking about any of the three of these tag teams, because they all feel like they're very similar, and I feel like you can probably get away with having two on the roster. I don't know about three at the same time that all feel very similar. So I don't know. Would you guys any comments on this, or TNT and the other two teams I was talking about?
Yeah, I wish Gallus would have given back a little more than they did, but also it's Gallus, and Gallus is one of, if not the best tag team in NXT. So I get it, but you gotta build other people up. You could, I understand Gallus winning, but you could have let the other team look good.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta do something different with Gallus though, because like you said, when I saw Gallus the first time ever, I felt like they were a more, I'm not gonna say watered down, more whiskey down version of the Brawling Groups with Sheamus, Pete Dunne, and Rich Holland. So it's like let's I don't know what that special ingredient is.
Oh, you saw the Brawling Brutes before you saw Gallus.
I did. Yes, oh. I did. So for the bigger audience that are getting introduced to Gallus, like, oh, you're all just the Brawling Brutes. So
except that Gallus has been around for a decade now.
But unless you're part of the indie scene, in the British wrestling scene, you don't know.
I used to watch NXT UK. Yeah, I watched.
It was only a
Wolfgang get together with the two brothers and form Gallus and everything. I miss their old theme music. Man, that stuff was man, I would have put that song on the playlist. As soon as this is over, I'm going on YouTube and I'm listening to the old Gallus theme.
No. I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm just saying just put a splash of paprika in this to make it a little bit more different. Not all the way different, I don't know what the difference is to make them stand out more, but just a splash of something different.
You need something. You have to be easily digestible when it comes to talking on the microphone. And I absolutely love Gallus. Their accents sometimes make what they're saying hard to define and understand completely and digestible. I'm not going to lie about that. I had the same issue, and we'll get into it with Will Ospreay on Wednesday. We'll get into it. But the whole point, in my opinion, of a promo, what makes a good promo, is where you can understand everything that they said. The point is clear and it's concise. And a lot of times I feel like you don't quite get that with Gallus. There's a little bit of a disconnect when it comes to that stuff. They're good at what they're doing. I don't know if it's because of the language, slight language difference. I don't know if it's the accents. I don't know what it is. But for me, there's something that seems to be missing a little bit with their talking. I understand, even if you've seen Gallus first, I can see what Anika's saying about feeling like Gallus is kind of a whiskey down or wish.com version potentially of the Brawling Brutes. Now, Gallus has been doing it longer, and that's potentially where they may have gotten even the idea for the Brawling Brutes, looking at Gallus and thought, let's do this with these guys. And I like Mark Coffey and Joe Coffey and Wolfgang, but the other three guys are on a different level than those guys at this point in their careers, right? They're superstar, main event superstars. And Gallus was really mid-card at this point. So they should be higher. They should be being booked better than that. And they should, when they get to the main roster, they should be a main event tag team faction. We'll ultimately see what happens. But
that is
right
one thing
now,
I will say. Gallus will be main roster talents. Like, they're not NXT lifers.
yeah, no, for sure. But we'll see what they end up doing with them, too. They still have to do something with them, which, like Anika said, they haven't really done anything with them necessarily to make them stand out, which is unfortunate because I do think they do stand out. They just need to find that right little, I don't know, thing that hits. And at the moment, it's not hitting at the way it should, in my opinion, or the way that I think they have the ability to. Let's see. Then we had Wes Lee in the ring, which resulted in one of the funner parts of this NXT episode. We had a Rascals reunion. Wesley came out and was talking about losing to Omafemi. He doesn't know where to go from here. It was definitely one of those kind of, I'm sad, I'm not sure what to do, I'm kind of down. And the crowd wanted to try to hype him up. And of course, here comes Zach Wentz and Trey Miguel to hype up his Rascal brothers. So they come to the ring. Let's see. Wentz says he wants to stop Lee from doing something stupid. They don't really intimate what that is. They all hug, and that's basically the end of it. They leave the ring. I don't know if there's anything long term here. Obviously, the door is, the forbidden door is open with TNA and WWE at the moment, i.e., Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry and other stuff, especially with NXT. So it wouldn't surprise me to see, either West go to TNT for some work or they both come here for some work. I'm here for it. I even though I like Wesley as a singles wrestler, I still think his best work was as a Rascal, and I think the three of them together are gold. So the more I see them together, the better. And I think Miguel and Wentz are better with Lee as part of them. So I'm here for that. I don't know how much you'll see it, but
it's a weird situation where it's like, as a singles wrestler, Wesley is better off being over in TNA, but also NXT is in need of tag teams right now. So if the Rascals want to come here, that's also good.
Right.
It's a weird situation where, like, depending on what you're looking for, like, y'all need to be swapping.
Like, I love that they're here. It is a burst of energy that I think NXT needs, especially in the tag team division and faction warfare. This is what we really like. The TNT crossover deal, whatever it is. I am like, all right, now I can move some gas. This is what we wanted when y'all said we're going to be swapping wrestlers and helping each other out. Now, I would love if both brands. Let's not just have Rascals over here. Let's put Wesley over at TNA as well. Like, let's not hog all the people.
Because if, like, this entire partnership, the only thing y'all do is send Tatum Paxley over there, like, that's a bad look.
Real quick, they actually sent William Regal's son over there this week.
Good. Charlie Dempsey was over there.
Charlie Dempsey was over there fighting people. So
yeah,
you need to hype up. You need to go one more step above the wrestlers you do. Like one more, like. There you go. If y'all bring the Gallus, if y'all bring Gallus over in TNA, all right. Now this is getting a little bit more fair with the trade. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace are two of their biggest superstars, and Tatum Paxley and whatchamacallit are not. So Charlie Dempsey are not. They're not even the biggest NXT stars, let alone WWE stars. So there is a little bit of a imbalance there. Hopefully it won't be quite so one way, and we'll get to see some of these guys, some of the better WWE talent, make their way over to TNA, at least for some things. I don't know.
Send Sean Spears.
Yeah. We then had Thea Hale versus Izzy Dame. And Thea Hale got the win. She made Dame tap out. Not a whole lot to say about this. It wasn't a very long match. It feels like they want to push Thea Hale because she's on TV a lot and she's an intricate part of Chase U, and they obviously like Chase U a lot on NXT. I don't know. I don't know that Thea Hale has main roster potential. She may be only destined for NXT. I just think, I don't know. I'm not sure. There's nothing about her to me that says I need to see her on the main roster, or that she's going to stand out on the main roster or make a splash. She's small. She's kind of unforgettable. There's nothing really special about her other than her energy. What?
Well, you said unforgettable, but I know what you meant.
Oh, she's forgettable. That's what I meant to say. She's actually forgettable. Other than her energy, there's nothing that really stands out about her. And, that energy can get annoying after a while too. So I don't know. Anything you guys want to say about Thea Hale versus Izzy Dame?
It might just be a maturity thing. Like, I feel like I do get it. Wrestling is a young person game. But it feels like when you get to, like, when everyone is under 21, it's all the same high energy. It's like, okay, can some of y'all slow down just a little bit? So I would love to see how when they turn 23, it's a little more seasoned. If they turn 24, it's a little more seasoned. I do think the maturity factor is it has to do with some of these women, making a difference in how we perceive them.
Only 2 women truly feel like they will be on the main roster.
At this point, I would agree with that. Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice, I assume, are the 2 that you're talking about. Yeah.
And then we also got the 2 new signees coming in, which I don't understand the world if they won't make it to the main roster in the future, of Julia and Stephanie Vakir. Like, you're getting 2 of the best women in the world. Like, 2 of the women who are better than over 90% of your main roster stars. Like it's a short list of women who are better than them.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. And that's going to be very interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I would say this: don't go too fast. We all kind of wanted Jade to make a little pit stop at NXT for the main roster. That's saying they did a bad job for now, but that was something we kind of wished for. So with Julia and Stephanie, it's like, let them have the pit stop at NXT. I want them to have the title for a little bit. They can have a year NXT, cook a little bit, and go to the main. Like, don't go too fast with these women. That's all I'm saying. Let them progress.
Julia is one of the top 3 women in Japan. My personal favorite of those 3, but she is top 3 women of Japan. And then Stephanie is the number 1 woman of Mexico. Like, the argument you can make is like Thunder Rosa. So,
no, I mean, this bringing in these 2 has that kind of black and gold NXT era feel to it, right? Where they brought in
Shinsuke and Samoa Joe.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of independent wrestlers, a lot of guys that had already made their names and had established careers to try to boost the brand up. We'll see. I don't think that's their ultimate goal here, because I think they've made it clear that NXT isn't really a third brand; it's really their developmental, and that they're coming in to get some reps and to learn the WWE way, and then they'll be on the main roster pretty quick. I don't see how you can keep Julia or Stephanie off the main roster for any period of time. They're going to be super big fish in a really small pond in NXT. So, well, we'll ultimately see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, they're destined for the main roster. Hopefully, they have more than just a little cup of tea, and hopefully, it can raise some of the profile of NXT. In keeping with what Anika said, now that they've, and I mean, it always has been, other than really the black and gold era, NXT is developmental, and keeping that in mind, the Thea Hale versus Izzy Dame match, it is what it is. You want to give these people a chance on TV. You got to see what they can do. You got to give them more than one opportunity. So I get it. You don't know until you see, and maybe they do get better. So at the same time, as a viewer, and I know what I'm watching. At the same time, watching people develop can be difficult too. Watching people struggle to develop can be difficult to watch. So, but again, it is what it is. So let's see. Next, we had the position that I thought they were going to give to TNT. Honestly, we had out the mud here, OTM with Jada Parker face the OC, and OTM got the win here in a big victory over the OC. I mean, to be fair, the OC is, they're long in the tooth. They're older now. They don't participate a whole lot. They don't wrestle a whole lot, but they still have that name and that cachet. And when you beat them, it still is a big win. And for OTM to get a win over the OC, and there's Jada Parker, Me Chin feud that's going on, it appears they want to push OTM more than the other two of the three groups that I mentioned that I feel are very similar. So, which I guess is fine with me. I mean, again, just pick one and do it, and let's see what they can do. So, I thought this was a solid match, and OTM got the win with their finish on Anderson. What do you guys think?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, like you said. All the teams that should be able to help the younger people, the OC is one of those teams. And I do see promise with OTM and Jada Parker, especially with Jada Parker and Beecham. So I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
I said it before. I'll say it again. I'm really not interested in OTM without Reggie.
Well, that is the thing. Like going towards the Maximum Male model, and they switched LA Knight with Maxine. It's like, why would y'all? When you do that,
Maxine was always there, though.
No. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't.
She was.
The first couple. No. The first couple of weeks, it was just Maximil Mouse with what was his name? Was his name? It wasn't LA Knight. What was his name? Maximil Mouse. It was something.
Oh yeah, what was his name?
Max Dupree.
Yeah.
And it was just them three, and they talked about his sister. And then it felt like they were it felt like they were going to get rid of him and have her be the person. And it was just like, no, when you, like TV shows, and you kick someone out to put someone else new, that's a very dangerous game, Rockstar. Especially when either you don't see it, that they're not over, but other people like that original group, that next person you replace them with, they got to be better than the last person. Point blank period. And I'm saying Jada Parker can't be that, but you're putting them in a very hard position, and that's important for
her. Let's see. Next, we had Sol Ruka versus Fallon Henley, which the notes here that I'm looking at says Sol Ruka won, but that's not actually what happened. She hit the Soul Snatcher and couldn't get the pin because dashing JC Jane and Jasmine Nix came down to the ring and started beating up Sol Ruka. So this was an okay match. For me, Sol Ruka has a higher upside and potential than Fallon Henley. I like her better, so I was happy to see her kind of go over Fallon here. I don't like her being stuck with JC Jane and Jasmine Nix, and I don't think that Cody Rhodes giving JC Jane his mask has done what they were hoping it would do. I think they thought she would get some rub from that. I don't think it's worked at all. So I don't know.
These two girls have potential. It's sort of a wait and see. These are two women that you want on NXT, though. You want to develop them, and you want to see if they have what it takes. Like, they're
Agreed.
not there yet, but they could get there.
Agreed. Let's see. Then we had what was supposed to be, in theory, maybe a handicap match. Trick Williams was going to wrestle Ethan Page and Shawn Spears. As Williams comes to the ring alone, you hear, "I believe in Joe Hendry." So, and say his name, and he appears. So Joe Hendry is there, and he is with Trick Williams, and so that ends up becoming Trick and Joe versus Ethan and Shawn in our main event of this week's episode of NXT. And Trick and Joe Hendry end up getting the win. Joe Hendry lands that version of the choke slam that he does. It's a weird choke slam, but I guess that's what they're calling it. So, and gets the win. I thought this was fun. It did what it's supposed to do.
We
You know,
believe. We believe. We
the,
believe.
the faces get the win here, and the heels look like the bad guys, and everyone's in support of Joe Hendry. And this was supposed to be a big spot, I'm sure, for Joe Hendry, and it came out that way. So yeah, I mean, I like this. I thought this was all really solid. This was for me probably the best part of the show. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I enjoyed this a lot. What about you guys?
No complaints from me. Like, I like all these dudes. Uh, like out of all these dudes, like Trick Williams might be my least favorite, and I like Trick.
It is about
Yeah.
spacing it out. Like you said, it's you got four guys and all these potentially be the best main event. So it's like let's take our time with this. Nothing has to happen right now. Let's space this out properly.
I agree with that. So that was the end of NXT. Let's see. So I'll go ahead and grade it first. I thought it was maybe a C plus. I didn't think this was a great episode of NXT. It wasn't bad, but I'm gonna say C. I'll say C. I'll give it a
Mhm.
solid C.
C sounds right to me. Like there was really good goods, and there's also really mehs. And so it's
Yeah.
C is average. So an average show, the good and the bad average each other out. Makes sense to me.
We're not putting points toward it, but it's a good A C, a good a strong C.
Strong C. All right, Anika,
Strong C.
you up for leading us
This is
through
not a
Dynamite?
euphemism, people.
Yes, and that was somewhat what I was doing on my phone because I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should do this. I guess I should have what the freak happened. So
I mean, I only need it because my memory is terrible and I can't remember what happened yesterday, let alone 5 days ago. So that's why I got to look at the recap. But like, if you could do it without it, I mean, by all means. I mean,
I remember I used to try to do it without it, and I had always remember something or other by the end of it. It's like, oh, this happened earlier on the show, and I completely forgot about it.
so check this out. So I watch Raw and NXT on Hulu the next day.
Mhm.
And it's a condensed show because there's no commercials. So Raw ends up being like an hour and 45 minutes. The last 2 weeks, I've noticed when I've read the Raw review, there have been things that have been left out, cut out of the Raw replay on Hulu. Like I didn't see that at all. Like holy, and so now I'm like, well, that sucks because I'm not getting the whole show then.
So like, well, so Hulu, so next year I believe the partnership with Hulu is going to be gone in a minute, but it is kind of crazy how when they do the recap, what they think is what people want to see, what they don't, instead of you recording it on your DVR. It's like, wait, hold up, who's that? Watch this part, y'all suck. That is hilarious though. That is very much so hilarious. So it's like I think I missed one Raw and for some reason my DVR didn't record it, and I tried to do the recap. And it's like, okay, so I gotta make sure the DVR is set because even though it's 3 hours, I would prefer fast forwarding stuff that I think I want to fast forward to, rather than what y'all think. Cause I don't know what y'all
Exactly.
think. Y'all don't know. Basically.
Agreed.
But Hulu's also going to give you a commercial every 4 minutes, regardless if you're fast forwarding or not.
Sometimes if you're recording live, if you're recording live and you
Oh,
start
DVR, yeah.
Yeah, if you record live and you're watching it in so like you can't fast forward, record live. But
Yeah.
but
But
sometimes you
that's not the hour and 45-minute one. That's the 3-hour one.
exactly.
Right.
Like I said, even if it's 3 hours, I would prefer me fast forwarding than having Hulu decide for me.
I did think it was a little short the first time I watched it. I was like, that was only like an hour and 40 minutes. There's not an hour and 40 minutes of commercials. So like they must have cut some other stuff. And it took me like 2 episodes of not and having to pull up the thing to be like, oh shit. Timmy's like, well, we had this on. Oh, you're right. We totally did. I didn't see that because I watched the Hulu version. So like, okay. All right. This isn't going to work. I can't talk about a show that I only see half of. So needless to say, I've gone back to figuring out another way to watch it. So all right, Anika, let's talk about Dynamite.
Thanks to a wrestling news YouTube show, I got the bullet points, so we're good to go. We start out with the recap of MJF brutally beating Daniel Garcia and his explanation on Collision of why he did it. Again, my past hurt me. This is why I'm mad. And and it because I opened my heart to you and y'all turned your back on me even though I left and what the freak that's what we supposed to do. Like you're not here, bro. We didn't forget about you. But ain't nobody trying to watch you from your home on Twitter. Like, when you come back, we'll be right there for you when you come back. But then so the official start was Ospreay coming out because he saw the aftermath of MJF beating up Daniel Garcia, and basically he was like, you know what your problem is. You know what? It's basically like the whole segment was great. So I'm trying to do the bullet points of what Ospreay said. So number one, he was like, "You're mad at me because I got the money that you got because of Bending War 2024 sucked." I love that little bullet point. I did, and he's like, "I came in here. I felt I had to clean someone else's mess, and I found the person who was making the mess. It was you, and so you called me a talentless hack. I got more talent in my right nut than you have your whole body."
I think you said left.
Is there a difference?
Yes.
Does that point really matter? Unless we know he has one ball, and I don't think we should know that about him.
Well, if you only have one, I don't know if you'd be able to really know if it's.
But we don't even know this information about him, Sammy.
Breaking news: Will Ospreay only has one testicle.
unless we know Will Ospreay has one testicle, do we?
No.
Then I don't care. I don't think it matters what night he's dead. And so basically, he was like, the reason why you beat up Daniel Garcia is because you're mad that he got all good praise and he worked hard while you were away. You're like, but you know what? I'm done talking. Let's fight. They hit MJF's music. And of course, MJF, he's back to his old self. So that means he's not coming out to face you. So he had the backstage. So he had the video. I guess can we call it Skype or not, or was it the video package? Basically, he's not there. They played a video. He's sipping wine, and he was like, "Sir, I've been here too long. You're the flavor of the month, basically. And when the people are tired of you, they'll throw you out like yesterday's toy. But I will still be here, and I'm not going to fight you tonight because I fight for a purpose. So how about this? Let's fight next Wednesday on the 250th episode of Dynamite." Will Ospreay accepts. He ended it with a bitch, and there you have it. We're going to get Will Ospreay versus MJF, not at Wembley, but on Dynamite. And I get 250 is an I number to do this on, but I didn't think it was that important to do this on, especially when we all thought it was going to be at All In. So,
well, also I'd like to state that Adam Cole faced MJF a month before Wembley, and then again at Wembley.
So, and everyone brought this up. That don't mean it's right though. Like I get, like I get it, he's done it before, but that doesn't mean it's right though. Like, why can't the first match not be on the biggest stage of them all? Especially this with MJF and Adam Cole. Tell me if I'm wrong. It ended in a time limit draw, and I'm kind of afraid of that. So it's not just this big match next week; it's another big match next week, and I am afraid that one of these matches is going to end either a DQ or a time limit draw, and I am not down with that. I am not down with that. Either someone wins or you don't do the match right now. You do it at Wembley.
Will this be the second to last match on the card?
I don't know. I don't know because all right, we'll say right here. The next match they announced for next week is Swerve versus Okada, and that is a very, very big match as well. And Swerve is the champ, so I'm not sure what's the main event. Come out of next week or Wembley or All In. Sammy,
Hmm?
you talking about next week? What's the main event of next week?
No. Wembley.
Wembley. Again, like I thought that would make my answer different. I don't know.
For the Intercontinental Championship, like I feel like that could be the second to last match on the card.
But I don't. As of right now,
Danielson Swerve for the title is going to be the main event, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's got to be.
Yeah.
So, I would think the women's match, Tony Storm versus whatchamacallit.
Mariah May.
That's a good.
Yeah, Mariah May is going to be probably the co-main event. I don't like they like to call it the second to last match.
I was thinking you opened the show with a bang with that match.
Oh, maybe.
So because as of we'll talk about this later. As of right now, that's the only blood feud on Wembley. And
Blood.
yeah, physically and spiritually, I think that should be right back up in the middle or at the end because I think that's too much emotion for the first match. That's in my opinion. That's too much emotion for the first match.
Fair.
So back to Will Ospreay. For me, this promo I thought was okay. I had an issue with it. I'm going to talk about the same issue that I had with Gallus, which is that Will Ospreay has a very deep, gravelly, hard to decipher voice sometimes. And the more and more ramped up he gets, the more and more crazy he gets, and the more and more you can't understand what he's saying. And so, like halfway through, three-quarters through, I'm like, dude, you got to calm down just a little bit so I can actually decipher what the fuck you're saying and then move on.
It's the same way with Americans, though. Like, if you're from the South, like, when you're amped up, like, the Southern accent gets a little strong. Same thing if you're from the Northeast. Like, if you're from the Northeast, that accent gets a little thick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, unless you're from, like, Ohio, like, the accent comes on strong.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. And I just sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect for me personally, when I can't grasp, when I have to watch a promo 2 or 3 times, even if it's a good promo, to get it all, I feel like it hasn't achieved its purpose. So
shout out to Ohio for basically not having an accent.
If I'm watching it more than once because I enjoyed it enough and I want to watch it more than once, that's a really good promo. If I'm watching it 2 or 3 times to figure out the purpose or what was said in the promo, that's not a good promo to me. So, and there were moments where I feel like I probably need to go back and listen to this again because I missed a couple things, I'm sure. So now, to be fair, I don't have the greatest hearing. Maybe some of that's on me. I don't know. But maybe no one else has that problem. But I had a little bit of that problem with Ospreay this week.
But I'm thinking about it now. Like Jon Moxley, The Miz, Logan Paul, like Ohio boys. Like there's no distinguishable accent aside American. Like
right. Yeah.
And they are all very decent promos.
Mm-hmm.
But I will take the raspy voice for the energy. The energy, I'm like, all right, because you're on 10. I'm gonna give this to you. I'm gonna give this to you real quick. And I do subtitles on my TV, so I don't. I am that old person. I am.
All right.
So next we have the men's finals of the Owens Cup. where it is Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson. Special enforcer, Mr. Jeff Jarrett. I love this because I think anyone who saw his promo on Collision before he got his match against Heyman, it was like, oh, why y'all let him do it? He's going to get murdered. Why couldn't y'all let him win one match and then get murdered? So I do love him being a little bit more into the tournament, even though he lost. It wasn't in a interrupty, still a spotlight kind of way, in my opinion, right? So this match was great. I believe it went 30 minutes, if not darn near close to it. And of course, Heyman's the heel. Brian's the baby's face. I still get his name mixed up to this day. It was from blow to blow to blow, but Danielson wins with not gonna say a roll up, but basically like Heyman's on his back. He puts his shoulders down, 1, 2, 3. Danielson wins. Now, I ask you two people. Oh, what are you gonna say, Tammy? What are you gonna say, Tammy?
Solid match.
Yes.
This is for the main event at Wembley.
Yes.
And it's like, well, Danielson recently lost to Ospreay, and Ospreay recently lost to Swerve, so it feels a little weird. But on the inverse, you have Hangman Page, who's lost to Swerve 3 times now. So
that's what I was gonna ask, right? This kind of tricky thing about listening to podcasts and stuff. People already have their ideas in mind, and when their fantasy matches blow up, it's like it gives the company more. They got to work harder for people to get more involved in the match when they think it should be something different. So I will ask you both: who did you prefer to win? Because on one side, Swerve versus Heyman was a blood feud, and I think y'all wanted them to run this back. And Wembley being your biggest right now, that is your WrestleMania because it's your biggest arena. That would have been a great end goal. But on the other side, Danielson and y'all we keep backtracking a little bit, but he's retiring. He's not going to be a full ring wrestler. If he wrestles, it's going to be once in a life. It's going to be once in a orange moon, right? But this is his retirement week, even though he keeps retirement year, even though he keeps trying to backpedal this a little bit. But him being him versus Swerve and him possibly winning the championship for his retirement match is great as well. Which one did y'all prefer? Which one would y'all have gone with?
Well, at Wembley, like I feel like Swerve retains. Like I think Swerve's going to be champion until Full Gear.
So before you get into details, which one did you want? Which one did you want to win, Swerve or Danielson?
Personally, I thought that Danielson makes the better match, main event of Wembley. I think that the British wrestling fans would prefer having Danielson.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think there's more meat on the bone with Hangman just because of everything that's happened. And I know that Hangman's lost 3 times, but he's due a win here. And I think that's ultimately probably what happens. I think Hangman takes the title from Swerve whenever that happens. I do think Swerve wins. I think Danielson winning here was an indicator to me that Swerve wins at Wembley, because I don't think Danielson is going to have that title again, and I think he wants to put over. That's what in general I'd say again, like another title run in him at all. I don't mean that title. I just mean that title again. I think giving him this Owen Hart Cup championship is enough for the moment. And I think he wants to put Swerve over, and I think probably TK, Swerve, AEW loves the idea of Swerve having a win against Ospreay and Danielson. It solidifies him as really an elite wrestler, and all the more reason to be your champion. And then I think he loses it to Hangman probably. I don't know when that'll be, but Full Gear, I guess. But so yeah, I mean, personally, I didn't care one way or the other, but I do think that the winner was an indication of where we're going in the future. So, I was a little surprised that Hangman didn't get the win. I think Hangman and Swerve at Wembley has more meat on the bones for the big show, but more meat on the bone for the big show. But it's Danielson, so Danielson and Swerve is going to be A+. I mean, it can't, right? I mean, you're not going to get a bad match, so I don't think you can go wrong either way here. And with Danielson going, this being his last little, farewell tour, and in my mind, definitely not getting a run with the AEW Championship, this does give him a win in the, a little belt and a little consolation prize in the meantime, right? So at least he's got something.
So I blame Steve for this, right? Because Steve winning, I totally love. So I love the idea that if a wrestler retires, they don't have to lose on their last match. I appreciate that a lot, and
Sure.
I hope that is I'm gonna say a recurrence. I'm gonna say a regular recurrence, but I do hope that happens more than not. I'm going to enjoy these are good problems to have. These are not bad problems, right? I am going to enjoy Swerve versus Danielson. I don't think I'll be emotionally invested as if it was Hangman versus Swerve, because I was like, we all saw it. He broke into his room. He did a promo on his baby. It was blood spilled. It was blood drank. It was a lot in this feud. That they're gonna make us wait for this. Okay, we'll wait, but it would have. I think Wembley would have been a nice stage for that. But again, Danielson, his last official match as a full-time wrestler, I can't be mad at him being the main event. Like I said, this just means that AEW, you have to work a little bit harder to get people invested in this. Yeah, they're two great wrestlers, but again, it's like how much people will care who wins. I think that really gives. I really think that is the make people buy tickets of how much you can get fans to care of who wins. I like both people, so I don't care who wins. I'm gonna watch because it's gonna be fun, but my emotionalness is not really deep into this match.
We're not at the year mark yet, right? This isn't his last match.
Well, so he wasn't here for Wembley. I'm not going to assume that he's going to be next year's Wembley, right? So
Right. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Last match for
yeah.
probably All In. Yeah. No, that's probably fair. I assume he'll have at least a couple more matches because the year is. I don't think the year is up from when he said he was going to do a year. I don't remember when he actually said that.
But I assume that, say, Wrestle Dream Casino Ladder match. Hangman Page wins. Hangman Page goes to Full Gear, takes the title off of Swerve.
Yeah, I can see that. I could see Wrestle Dream being Danielson's last match of this final year run, and that being it. Since it's on his side of the,
Tacoma.
It's in Tacoma. It's in the Tacoma Dome. So, which is about an hour away from where he's from, 2 hours, hour and a half from where he's from. So, in his neck of the woods, at least. So, that would make sense. I mean,
close enough that his family can come.
Yeah.
For me, if he's cleared, the only match that I want to see as the final match is Nigel and Brian. But I don't know that Nigel's cleared. I don't know that we've done enough. Nigel's been doing enough shit talking to make the story work. I don't know that we've done enough to get people hyped up enough about the match or to explain to people why the match is important. But for me, that would be the final match for Danielson.
Like all out the week after All In. Like all you need is Nigel to come up after the match and attack him.
We need to see Matt. We need to actually see Nigel in the ring with the mic, like actually in the ring. Even though we know him on commentary, we need to see his like not behind the desk. I think that was the hype that we want.
Yeah. All right. What was next?
All right. So next we have an acclaimed music video, dumping on Young Bucks. It's crying. Like it's I kind of like, all right, fine. Can we please move? Okay. I'm going to give Acclaim a little bit of grace because I don't feel this was what they were supposed to do. I feel that the team should that the elite were supposed to face after what was it? Anarchy in the Arena. It was either supposed to be FTR or the Morrison Machine Guns. And because FTR got hurt, and for some reason the Morrison Machine Guns evidently aren't coming to AEW or it's not as clear, they had to have another tag team to face off. And unfortunately, the next in line, who are baby faces, is the Acclaim. So I'm gonna give them a little grace. Like, hey, it is what it is, but I don't care about Acclaim versus Elite. Sorry.
I mean, Max Caster gets a lot of heat for being a subpar rapper and all that. So the problem with him, I'm a huge hip hop head. I listen to it. I thought it was fine. I liked the bars. I thought it was funny, clever. I liked the song. I thought the song was, I mean, it wasn't like it was a banger, but it wasn't bad. I mean, I thought
Listen,
overall, I thought it came across good and I
if
enjoyed it.
he
So,
was Kendrick Lamar on the mic, you think he'd be a wrestler?
right.
Like,
Well,
that's
yeah,
the
exactly.
thing.
Sure. Right. I mean, I mean, we've had a lot of iterations of this kind of gimmick, the rapping wrestler guy, right? And for me, he's probably been the best to date. So as far as actually having real ability, and John Cena was okay. I mean, John Cena was work. I
John
mean, he
Cena,
tried.
I'll give him for battle rapping, of like on the spot, just coming up with rhymes, but
Right.
like actually like writing shit down and
Yeah.
like making it good, definitely Max Caster.
Yeah. So I thought this was fun. I enjoyed this segment. I liked it. I do agree with Anika. This isn't quite where they're supposed to be, but at the same time, I thought this was fun. I liked the music video, and I thought the music was fine.
Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. All right, next. All right, so next we have Samoa Joe versus Chris Jericho in a street fight. Okay, all right. If any of you are history buffs, I was confused. We're in Canada. We're Calgary, Canada, right? So I'm like, but why is everybody wearing cowboy hats? I wasn't sure. I'm like, we're in Canada, right? So tell me, can someone just connect the dots for
So
me? Why are we wearing cowboy hats?
the
Cowboy
Cal the
hats.
Calgary the Calgary Stampede is extremely famous, and I think it's a rodeo type of event type situation. So I think that's the connection.
Okay, can you
Like, but cowboy hats, like that's Mexico to Canada, and it's also like a thing in Australia too, I believe.
like I didn't think it was a thing in Canada, so that kind of threw me off. Like not all the way off. I'm like, okay.
Hey! Canada liked beef too.
Who
Like,
into that?
you'd raise cattle in Texas, and then you'd take it north or south. Well, actually, they raise cattle in Montana too, which Montana's right next door to Canada.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, I just need a little clarification of that. Great, decent street fight. At the end, blah, blah, blah. They go to the backstage. Of course, the learning tree. Jericho don't play fair, so here comes Big Bill and Brian Keith to help for the win. They put Samoa Joe on a forklift. They run him into a wall. They wrote Joe is injured. Jericho wins by referee stoppage. Look, I loved Joe Hook and Shibata as a group. So I am very much displeased that y'all served my group up to the learning tree on this platter. Now, if y'all want some backstage information, Joe is leaving to film the second season of Twisted Metal. So I get he has to leave, but like Moxley had to go to Japan, but y'all let him win before he left. So I don't understand why you had to do this, Joe. Whatever, but it was cool.
Well, Mox was just going to Japan. Like, Samoa Joe's going to be out for half a year. He will not be here. He will not have matches. He will not have promos. He is not coming back for half a year.
Okay, so two things with Moxley. How long was he out? I feel like it was longer. Probably was only
It
2
was
months.
like 3 months, and I think he still had an appearance in the middle. I think he came back for a week.
Yeah, and to number two, I think he came back a little early because Mr. Tony Khan, again, with the Twitter fingers, had to say something really stupid. So he had to come back and do a grand promo. I did like this is around the time where they showed the all in footage from 2023, and then Tony Khan went on Twitter and said was on a little bit too much on his mind. So I'm like, so I think they're like, I think Danielson put the call in the Moxley. He did it again. All right, fine. Here I come. I feel like they cut Moxley's trip to Japan short to bring him back. So not sure how much of time on that leaves. But yeah. So again,
John Moxley's the best thing about AEW. Like, he is the most dependable. Like, if you need somebody to step up, he is that dude. Like, to me, he's the face of the company. And the company would be in a much worse position if he hadn't joined it.
100%. But
Agree with that.
Yeah. Going to Samoa Joe, I get why I did it. Learning tree, okay, I'll admit with this. If this gets Brian Keith and Big Bill over, I'm fine.
I agree with that. This was okay. I mean, I'm always here for Samoa Joe. I like seeing Joe beat up Jericho. I didn't necessarily think that the forklift little segment part came off all that great. I think it was hard to kind of see exactly what was happening, and it wasn't totally clear how hurt Joe acted. It was clear Joe's hurt. It wasn't clear how much they hurt him. Like, I didn't feel like there was like this huge, like, oh my God, Joe's dead. Like, it didn't have that impact to me. Like, it didn't come off like I think they hoped it would, at least for me. But it works. It's fine. Like you said, and I understand why they do it because he's going to do Twisted Metal. But I'm a little disappointed that it's going to basically be the end of Hook and Joe and Shibata, at least until Joe's back, and then who knows what's happening at that point with the other two. So, what I don't want them to do is to put Hook and Shibata on the back burner waiting for Joe to come back. That doesn't work for me. I need them both to continue to do what they do, especially Shibata because he's so good. And Hook is starting to develop, I think, a little bit. At least he seemed to be developing under Joe a little bit more in this situation here. So I want to see that continued progression because I feel like he had plateaued for a little while. So I hope that doesn't have any impact on that. But it was fine. I mean, I thought it was probably of the four matches they had on this show. This was probably, I guess, the lowest point, which is tough because it was really solid. I mean, but if I was grading the 5 or the 4 actual matches on this show, this would probably get the lowest grade just because it's got Chris Jericho in it and it is what it is. Joe goes out and all that stuff, but very solid. I enjoyed it a lot.
So question, because you're like the ending didn't hit the way you thought it was going to hit, is because it was just Wall. Was the Wall too paper thin? Like,
I mean, it's just
the Wall. Maybe that could have been a better ending. It was actually a little bit more first of being pushed into the Wall.
Right? Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, this isn't the first time like a forklift or a vehicle like that has been used. I don't know that it always comes off the way they hope it. I think there's other ways to show that you could show people getting injured or taking them out that just comes across as better. I don't know, but it is what it is. I mean, yeah, the Wall was a little too flimsy. I'm not a huge fan of the actual forklift itself as the device for rendering Joe injured. So those two things combined, it just didn't hit quite for me. But I mean, it served its purpose, and at the same time, it feels like it could be done better.
I think the best forklift. I don't like the guy, but I did love when the Bloodline went into the car. And all of a sudden, you see Brock Lesnar with a forklift, and he ramps the ends to the car. I think that's probably the best one. Like,
right.
Did he actually hit their heads? So like something a little bit more like more glass, more force. So yeah, that was probably the best one to do forklift. Yeah.
All right. What was next?
All right. So what was next? Our weekly multi-man match of AEW, which could be sometimes it is the best that like every week multi-man match, I'm down with it. In this one, we have Claudio versus Ishii Ibumu versus Kyle Fletcher versus the Bastard. And they only had 13 minutes, but with these four, they made them count. I love it. Like there was no slow movement, no slow segments, no slow movement. Everything had a purpose. I loved it. Every multi-man match should be like this, and it has. In fact, a couple weeks they have. But Mr. Bastard has the had the win, which I can appreciate. I can appreciate. And then he gets on the mic and he was like, you know what? Yeah, that felt right. That needed to feel good.
Kind of surprised they didn't have the title on the line in this match.
Well, no one had a freaking well. Kyle Fletcher has the ROH title. That's a whole other discussion of what to do about ROH. On one hand, yes, give them exposure of AEW. On the other hand, actually let them be on ROH.
Well, here's the thing: is that if Pac had the title, I feel like Pac would show up to ROH.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah. So Pac was like, you know what? I'm admit I've been making promises. I haven't been delivering, unfortunately, aka winning the Owen Cup. But hey, everyone has you got to hype yourself up until the loss, right? But he was like, but here's one that I'm pretty sure I can keep. I'm gonna see y'all at Wembley. And I hope we see you there. And it better be against Jay White, because that's gonna be the banger. Book it.
Of this show, even though we had Danielson and Paige, and we're going to get to it with Willow and Mariah May. For me, this was my favorite match of the show, just because I thought it was the funnest match. And that's saying a lot, because I thought Danielson and Paige was amazing. So, but these four guys can all really go, right? And all of them had their spots and their moments. They all were able to shine, even though it was only 13 minutes. Pat getting the win is great here for him and for that, and just in general. What really surprised me, and I knew it, but it wasn't until they were standing next to each other how short Ishii is and how tall Claudio actually is. Like, there's a huge. It feels like Spud Webb and Manute Bol to a certain extent. Like, it was like, all right. Yeah, I didn't realize Ishii was quite that short. Like, I knew he was small, but I didn't know he was that small. So, because he's so big that, like, you forget how short he actually is. So,
well, most Japanese dudes aren't that tall.
That is true. That is true. But no, I mean, Ishii is that guy, right? Who, even though he always takes a loss, or not always takes a loss, even though he doesn't get a lot of wins in AEW, he always has good matches and good showings. I love him. He's one of my favorite New Japan guys. What can be said about Claudio that hasn't been said? Dude's amazing. Pac's a beast. And Kyle Fletcher's on the move. I mean, Kyle Fletcher is the future of AEW in many regards. I mean, he's one of the guys that will be the future of AEW. He will be an AEW world champion at some point. I don't know if it's 3 years, 5 years. At some point, he will hold that title. I think he's that good. We'll see what happens when his partner comes back, when Mark Davis comes back and is healthy, what they do with Aussie Open. But man, at this point, if I'm Kyle Fletcher, I mean, I know that's your boy and you got a lot. I don't need him at this point. Like, Kyle Fletcher's surviving well on his own and doing great. I mean, I'd almost just be like, yeah, I'm cool. I'll just stick to myself at this point. But I don't know what their relationship is, and who knows what that is. But we'll see. But yeah, this match for me was amazing. I thought this was an A+ match for me for sure.
Next we have an angry Hangman who, probably so, he lost. He's backstage. He's banging on the door. Renee tries to get an interview with him. He's like, no. And I love this. Like, Renee's fed up. Like, look, bro, I don't want to be here either. I'm trying to do my job. You answer the question. Like, all I want from you. He just looked at him. Fine. And so he knocks on the door. And who, no other than Okada comes out. And he's like, can I help you? So he's trying to move past him, like, no. I'm not one of these little people that you can run over. Can I help you? And so I think the Jacksons heard, like, hey. We want the same side. We want y'all to be on the same side. So we're going to dispute the situation. Heyman just says, I'm in. So fast forward to my apologies. I didn't review it right after Danielson came in. Swerve comes out for a promo. He talked,
That's
he
right.
basically kind of hypes up Danielson because that is your opponent for All In. He was like, you did get a win off of me, and I'm going to get that list back at Wembley. Let's fast forward to next week where I said it again. I'm going to get I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure how he did it in order, but basically the bullet points were, I'm going to, I will see you at All In Danielson. I'm going to do what you. I'm going. The only thing I need to do is beat you because I've already beat what's his name, Osprey,
Right.
something that you didn't do, and I'm going to be in Blood and Guts and beat the Elite, something you also didn't do. So, Will Washington. Swerve announced himself for Blood and Guts, and then next week we're going to get Swerve versus Okada. So fast forward to the backstage segment. Hangman says, "I'm in." He's on Team Elite. So we have in Blood.
Is it against Okada for the title?
I'm not sure it's for the title. I'm not sure. I
didn't mention that yet. They didn't make that clear yet or not.
Oh boy, would that be a swerve if they just up and put the title on Okada and the main event of Wembley is Okada versus Danielson rematch?
Out of all the scenarios, I think that don't do that scenario. Don't do that one. Please don't do that one.
Oh man,
that's not a good. No. That's not a good swerve. Let's not do that. But yeah, in Blood and Guts, on one side with the Elite, we have Hangman. On the other side, Team AEW, we have Swerve. So
he's the only one designated for Team AEW so far.
Oh, it's him and Mark Briscoe.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Mark Briscoe, and I'm okay. All right. So I'm like, okay.
I'm willing to put money down on Orange Cassidy.
Boo.
Just as long as it's not the Elite. I'm sorry. As long as it's not the Acclaim on Team AEW. I'm sorry. I don't think they're going to give me what I need for a Blood and Guts match. I'm sorry. Can we get someone? There's so many other people. Case in point. One moment here. That I will kind of. Can I jumpstart? Yeah. Case in point. One of the segments that follows, we just see Brandon Cutler gets beat up. The camera points to Darby, and he's like, "Hey, Jack Perry, I want to match you for the TNT title next week." Bam! If you want to if you want Darby and Blood and Guts, that's a good pairing. Like just don't let it be the Acclaim.
Yeah. No, I don't want it to be the Acclaimed. I mean, if it's Swerve and Mark Briscoe, Darby Allin seems like a good third, and then we need a fourth person. I mean,
Orange Cassidy.
Why do you keep saying Orange Cassidy?
It's going to be Orange Cassidy.
If you say Orange Cassidy again, I'm going to mute you. Stop saying Orange Cassidy. What? I don't understand why that's the only one that makes sense, but
because it's Tony Khan's booking.
Let's see. For me personally, if I was trying to pick a fourth, I mean, I don't even know. Like,
if I was picking, I'd want Jon Moxley if he's available. If Jon Moxley is available,
sure,
I'm picking Jon Moxley.
Why not?
Sure.
I get it. You don't want the same people in Blood and Guts, but these are your staples. You need one staple up in here. So yeah, put Jon Moxley in here. Yes.
Well, and this is. I mean, that's his realm too, right? I mean, he's become kind of that blood match, death match kind of guy to a certain extent. So this
I
is in his
Team
wheelhouse.
AEW is actually going to be losing. So part of me's like, maybe not put Jon Moxley in there because
I'm not sure because there's no stakes for Blood and Guts. Like, if it was for control of the company, then yes, the Elite should win. But we're just.
They want the Elite to look strong. That's where I think that they're going with it, and it's probably also going to lead into the all-out match, which will probably be. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Jack Perry versus Mark Briscoe?
I don't know.
For All In?
All Out.
All Out, right? The one after Wembley. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind it at all. Cause I do love Mark Briscoe versus Jack Perry. I do believe like that actually is kind of a come with some gas. It really is. So if you want to do that at all out, I would be fine with that.
All right, what was next?
All right. So what was next? One moment here. Multi-man match, blood and guts. We have a Mercedes Moné segment where she is the TBS champion and the New Japan Strong Team. We're going to get a celebration with just her in the ring, come hell or high water. But the high water's coming. So she comes in the ring and she was like, let's try this one more time. And she was like, she was like, we're in Canada, so she's a heel now officially. I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Boo, you're not great. And then she goes, she refers to Britt Baker. She was like, "Oh, poor you with your mini stroke." No, no. And she was like, she's like, "You don't have to worry about that because after WrestleMania, you'll be dead." And it's like, ma'am, do we have any limits to? Do we have any limits to what we say in promos? Probably not in AEW. But she was like, "All right,
So you got the woman who I'd probably say is the best women's wrestler in the world versus the face of the women's division in AEW.
yeah,
And like money.
right." Like it's already on 10. Like I said, I feel like this is the original plan for Mercedes Moné, but people got hurt. They're like, "Well, we'll just debut you anyway." You should have waited. If it was me, like let's just wait till she's fully healed and let's
Uh,
pop it off how we're supposed to pop it off.
Listen, I was perfectly cool with Mercedes coming in and getting her revenge after a year on Willow. Like that makes sense to me narratively. Like that seems like the first match you would have wanted.
Okay, I'll say this: it would have been better if she was a heel. Don't know who told her let's do babyface with Willow when Willow is a baby face. Like change that and like I said, still close the gap in because it feels like
Well, it feels like she's been moving towards heel, but like when she first comes in, like everyone's happy to see her. They're going to cheer her. Like she
yeah,
has to slowly work her way into being the heel she wants to be. And she's
no,
been doing it.
no. Like okay, so when she came, like the first time she debuted, right? All she has to do after Willow wins her match against, I want to say Sky Blue, and she comes out and Mercedes comes out and beats up Sky Blue. Willow holds Mercedes' hand. All he has to do is drop Willow. Bing, bang, boom. You're a heel.
Um, can we all just take a moment and appreciate the fact that we're not getting Mercedes versus Sriracha at Wembley?
Don't know. I get it. Storyline wise, back in the storyline wise, what's the face? It's history. Blah blah blah. But it wasn't that good of a history. No, like no offense. It wasn't for me. It wasn't enough to put on Wembley. It was. It
I mean,
just
I don't have the same issue that everybody else does, especially the other three of you on here that you guys have with Soraya, or Sriracha. I mean, I mean, I don't. I think she's probably a little overrated, but I don't think she's near as bad as I think CM thinks she is. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that it would have been a bad match at all. At the same time, that doesn't mean that I was necessarily, overly anxious to see it
She's a
either.
part
I
of one of
mean,
my favorite wrestling memories. I went and watched wrestling live with my family.
uh-huh.
And like my niece was a big fan of Sriracha, and I'm a big fan of Asuka. And Asuka just sprays her in the face. And I was like, yeah. And my niece is like, why?
why? No.
That's
So
funny.
to be totally impartial, on just like let's talk about Wembley last year. I don't think that Sriracha was hyped up enough to win the belt. It really is about that. Hyping someone up to the moment. And as of right now, Monet versus I'll be nice, Soraya wasn't hyped up enough for me to be on all this.
Oh, they
All
haven't
everyone else,
interacted at all.
right?
Right. But that's a booking issue, though. That's for me. That's a booking issue, not Soraya's not good enough, or Soraya shouldn't be in that position. I mean, I think there's plenty of other women that are, that she's on the same level with that have had those opportunities. So I don't think giving her those opportunities, there's anything wrong with it. They just haven't booked it right. I mean, that's really, in my opinion, what it boils down to.
Yes, but also like you brought in Soraya, like this big huge star, and unfortunately, let's say a month in, it wasn't really anything needle moving.
Yeah.
So going to bring her in, yes, build her up, but it shouldn't take that much build.
No, and to a certain extent, especially because she comes with already a history, people knowing her and who she is. Like, if you're not, you should already be over because you're Paige and people know who you are. And if you're not, you got to get over quick. And if you don't, then yeah, it's not working. I mean, I'm not saying that it's working in AEW. It hasn't worked. It has not worked in AEW. At the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with her. I just think it's been what it's been. I mean, maybe it is her. I don't know. I think it's circumstance. I think it's booking. I think it's all of the above. I mean, but for me personally, I think talent-wise, I think she's fine. I think she's on par with a lot of women that get plenty of airtime and people have a better opinion of than her. But it is what it is. So, but real quick on Mercedes and Britt.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, I really like it because it elevates that title, right? So
yes,
Tony's made it clear that he wants all titles to be main event field titles, not a main event and a mid card. And in keeping to that, you've done a really good job now by bringing in, maybe your biggest women's star and giving her that TBS championship and putting her in a huge feud with, when she's right in here, what has been the face of your women's division. So it's definitely a big deal. It probably already elevates that title above Tony Storm. I think it makes it more interesting than anything Tony Storm's got going on at the moment. Even though the stuff with Mariah May, we're going to get there, is really good, I still think ultimately more people probably are interested in Britt and Mercedes than they are in Mariah and Tony and whatever's going to happen there. But I could be wrong. But I'm a little more excited for Britt and Mercedes than I am for Tony and Mariah.
I'm not.
I don't have the history with Mariah May that I have with the other two, so that's a big part of it, right? Like, I've only seen. I mean, I saw Mariah May a couple times in Stardom, and now really the only time the only long-term introduction I've had with her has been since she's been in AEW. And it's been great with Tony Storm, but she hasn't had a chance to really stand out. And we'll get to it until this Dynamite, in my opinion, to really stand out and make herself a name. So after Dynamite this week, it's my opinion is a little bit different. But yeah, I mean,
if Mariah May isn't the one to take the title off of Tony, there's only one woman who I believe can, and that's Jamie Hayter. Like, if it's not Mariah May here and now, the only person I see who can do it is Jamie Hayter.
So let's get to the main event. It was right after this, right?
Yeah.
So the main event, the women's final. We have Willow Nightingale versus Mariah May, and this was great. These two are great. If you thought you were going to get anything less than 8 out of 10, don't know what you've been watching, but it was awesome. Like I said, great match. At one point in time, there was an interference from Stokely and Stat, but thankfully that didn't cost Will the match. I do appreciate, right? At the end of any finals, I get you trying to do a angle, but when it's been a couple of matches to get to a finals, the finale, the playoffs, I do want the ending to be concrete, right? So, like I said, that did not interfere with Willow losing, although a couple of pin attempts. Mariah May gets a classic Owen Hart roll up from his old match with Brett, which is, very historic. Mariah May wins the Owen Cup. Toni Storm is ecstatic. She goes into the ring. Mariah jumps in Toni Storm's arms. They're twirling. Toni is genuinely happy. They're skipping up the ramp towards the trophy. Mariah May gets her belt. We're all toasting, champagning, and the here comes the turn. Mariah May whops, hits Toni Storm with a belt, and then this freaking wailing used to strap wailing on Toni Storm's back. Loser tries to help, but Mariah May just clocks him to the point where he actually takes a bump and goes through a table. Listen, my sister used to be a TSA agent, and when WE came to our town, she had to handle the WE belt, and she said that thing's heavy. So let's be very, very clear that whatever belt they make, that's wheel metal, that is heavy. So seeing this little thing just wall up Toni Storm, this belt is like, oh God, stop! It's like to feel it hurt. It was hurting me.
And she followed it up by then writing Luther off of TV too.
Right? And then Luther, who always said Mariah May was up to no good. But then, worst of all, Toni Storm didn't watch for the shoe. Mariah May gets Toni's shoes. She's going to town. She is just freaking stabbing Toni Storm in the face. Toni Storm is just, all she can do is just cry while blood is getting in her mouth. It's getting disgusting, but it needs to happen. Like, God. And then Mariah May just smears Toni Storm's blood on her face. She gives her a smooch. They zoom out. And the Wembley Women's World Heavyweight Championship is Toni Storm versus Mariah May.
Now, before going into this, I felt Mariah May was very good. Very good. But, like, after that, like, Mariah May is a star.
Like, no offense, like, I've been on a couple of podcasts, right? And this might be the best women's heel turn ever. I'm trying to think, like, not women's match, not women's rivalry, but the best women's heel turn in wrestling. I am trying to think. This might be the best one. The top three that came up was, of course, Trish Stratus going against Chris Jericho, WrestleMania, slapping him and siding with Christian. That was a big moment. And then it's like, oh yeah, Stephanie going against Vince at Armageddon, actually siding with Triple H, the person who drugged you into marriage. Like that. So those are top three moments. And someone said, and then they said Mickie James turning it on Trish. I didn't really. I saw it, but I didn't think it was that big. But but this is definitely top 5 greatest women's heel turns. Greatest women's. So going back to the match, right? I love Willow, and for me, I wouldn't have been mad if she would have won and it would have been Willow versus Toni Storm. But I get it. It's insane how time flies. Mariah May and Toni Storm have been together for 11 months. That's insane. So this was the proper story. This is the proper build. That's what I'm saying. I want to see how they hype up the matches for Wembley, because for me, emotionally invested in a match, there could be an argument for this to be the main event. Again, like y'all got what? Y'all got a whole month and some change to hype these matches up. But as of right now, I would not be mad if y'all want to do Toni Storm versus Mariah May for the main event. That's just me.
I feel that there's only been one instance where the AEW World Title wasn't the main event. Only one. And I believe that was Wrestle Dream, was it not?
Yep. And of course, that's because we have Edge coming out, which is.
Yeah. Well, the only caveat is like Stadium Stampede, I believe, was the main event once.
So it was actually 3 times. Stadium Stampede over the 4-way, and then it was actually all out, where it was Moxley versus OC for the TNT title, and then Russell Dream, like you said, Darby versus Christian. So it was 3 times.
Right. But it's a very, very rare
To your
occurrence.
point. No, I totally get your point. Yeah.
But like I'd be down for it. Like I feel like it's worthy and deserving. Like the only caveat is the other matches, Swerve versus Danielson. It's like, ooh, it's hard to put something over that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, one of the greatest heel or the greatest heel turn in women's wrestling history. That might be putting a lot on it. I know you ran it down and I trust you and all that. Me personally, my recollection isn't that great, so I'd have to go back and look at some stuff before I could consciously make that statement. But in real time watching it, I thought it came off perfect. I mean, I thought there wasn't anything that could have been done any better. I mean, you get to see exactly who Mariah May is. She was a beast. She gave Tony Storm no quarter. I mean, she whooped her with that belt. She smashed her with those
Like,
forearms. Everything
she
looked
was
stiff
great.
and brutal. She dug that heel of that shoe into that fucking open wound on the top of her forehead. I mean, she pounced on Luther pretty good. I mean, it was a level of aggression we haven't seen from her. Another level of Mariah May, another part of her, another um, layer. So I like it. Again, I still need a little more time with Mariah May before I feel in my head like she's at that point on my favorites list. I do. I I have no problem with Mariah May winning here. It makes perfect sense for the story. I think her and Tony Storm at Wembley is going to be amazing, main event or not. And I don't really have an opinion on that. I mean, other than the fact that I would love to see it just because I think the women deserve that more than they get. So, and this is a match that really justifies being there as opposed to just giving it to them because it's women and you want to do something to give the women something. This is actually a match with meat on the bone that really could be a main event match, not just because it's 2 women that are good, So, um, in that regard, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'm a little disappointed that it feels like Willow gets fed to this storyline a little bit. And I don't know exactly where she goes from here, but she won the Owen Hart Cup last year. So it's not like she's, whatever. She had her moment in the sun last year and she still gets plenty of push and love. So I mean, she'll survive this, but yeah, I mean, ideally I don't know who it would have been, but ideally someone else that I like less would have been fed to Mariah May in this kind of situation. And made them the winning of the Owen Hart Cup here is the lesser story than the turn from Mariah May on Tony Storm. I mean, you could have one without the other. It makes more sense because now Mariah May gets a title opportunity. She wins this match. Now she has a title opportunity. Now's the time to turn on Tony Storm because I get her in a month at Wembley. So it all works out perfect. At the same time, I don't know who else it would have been, but I'm just because I love Willow so much, I'd rather have seen somebody else take that L in that spot. But it is what it is. And at least Willow's getting that main event spot. She's in the main event match on a Dynamite in a really big spot for the women's division. So, in that regard, at least there's that. So I thought this came out perfect. I thought there were 2 A+ segments. I thought Hangman and Danielson was A+. I thought this was A+. And then I think the 4-way for me was A++. But that's just a preference thing because of the way I watched the show and just how I took him that night. But because I'm not overly a fan of multi-man matches, you usually won't give me rating one that high. Usually I complain about them. But this one I thought came off perfect. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I don't have much to say negative about this episode of Dynamite. I mean, this episode of Dynamite was on fire. I mean, the matches they had, I think it was 4 matches, if I'm not mistaken. There might have been 5. 5, Jericho and Samoa Joe. So 5 total matches, which is the perfect number, especially when they're all good and solid. And I didn't think there was a bad match on the card. Jericho, Joe was probably the worst match of the night, and that was amazing too. So I thought for me, this show was, A+ almost. I mean, I don't A+ and maybe put a little bit on, but this was an A show for me. I mean, and this main event was A+. So
It's hard to disagree with you on any of those notes. The only down part was, and again, it's an annoyance. It's not like turn the TV off. It's just an annoyance of, my group lost to Jericho, although it was a great match. Acclaim video, it was alright. Just, wasn't needed, not really. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, everything else was just like A minus for Dynamite. Yep.
Yeah. Sammy Joe, you want to give us a grade for Dynamite and any final notes on Dynamite?
So I was thinking it was a B plus until we got to the main event, and then I was like, "Oh shoot, okay, this is an A minus," because Mariah May clinched that for me. It brought it from being an 8 something to being a 9 something. So I give that an A minus.
Yeah.
All right. So we definitely all have graded AEW Dynamite this week as the highest. So for all intents and purposes, AEW is our winner of the week for the three big, it's not even big. I mean, technically we should be probably having SmackDown on this too, but we watched that live. So, but the bigger mainstream shows, I guess, of the week. So yeah, no, I thought Dynamite killed it. And Sammy said, more often than not, it will probably be Dynamite in this position. We'll see. I mean, I gave Raw a B, which is good for Raw and for me because I often don't like Raw. So, if Dynamite had a couple hiccups, it definitely could have come in a little below that. So Raw was really solid this week. NXT was definitely the worst show of the week out of those three. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to say about? There you go. She's got her trophy and everything.
Dynamite.
First place Dynamite. That's right. First, Dynamite is the first person to enter the winner's circle on the winner's circle. How's that?
Yeah.
So we'll do some housekeeping. We've already held you guys here a long time. We know it's been 2.5 hours plus. So we'll just do some quick housekeeping. Let you guys know a couple things. Although now they're not there. The horsey's not there. Oh, well, I was going to put up our QR horsey, but it's not here in this thing. And if I switch it, it's going to change all the background and stuff. So please make sure if you're with us here, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit the bell to be notified. So every time we drop new content on YouTube, you'll get the notification. If you're with us on Twitter or Twitch, please follow us. You can go to Linktree and you can get to all of our social medias. We're everywhere. I try to post a lot of stuff on X. I try to post, news stories, wrestling news stories and stuff. You can find trivia on there here and there too. It's a little hit or miss. I'll do it more if people, want it more. But in the meantime, always check us out there. We are live. Hold on. Every Sunday, we do Enter the Square Circle. It is myself and Sammy Joe playing WWE 2K24. On Mondays, we have Seeing Stars with Jay News and Dolores. Sometimes it's live, sometimes it's pre-recorded. Just depends on what's going on in life, but it's always on Monday. So make sure and check that out. They're talking about everything that's going on in the world of independent wrestling and spotlighting new stars and all the up-and-coming stars. Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. We always do the Cookout Live, where we cook up. We talk about everything cooking up in the world of professional wrestling, play games, have interviews, whatever kind of stuff we do. That's our flagship podcast, so make sure and check that out. Then Friday Night Fights, Anika and Sammy Joe watch SmackDown and Rampage live, give you real-time reactions and opinions as they watch the show. And let's see, then Saturday nights, we have Saturday mornings. Starting with today, Saturday mornings, we'll now have Enter the Square Circle. Jesus, the Winner's Circle on Saturday mornings. I think this is a good time, probably 7 a.m. Pacific. It's a little early for me, as you can tell. I'm not totally awake yet, but it is what it is. So look for that now every Saturday, where we're going to be reviewing NXT, Raw, and Dynamite as we did today, and picking a winner of those 3 shows for the week. Then join us back on Saturday night for our Saturday Night is All Right, where we have our live AEW Collision watch along. I think that's everything. I probably went through it too fast, but If you hit the bell to be notified, you'll get notification of all that stuff. If you're subscribed, you should get the notifications. So we appreciate you as always. Thank you for joining us here on Workhorse Wrestling Network. And unless you guys got anything else to say to the people, we'll say peace, and get them out of here.
Peace.
Peace.
Oh,